Mask on, and Chewie transformed me. I transformed. The attitude was different. The walk was different. Chewie turned on. Do the scenes, come back, take the mask off. Peter was back.
Action.
That old man's mad.
You said it, Chewie.
I put that mask on and
Two fingers.
Okay.
And then, if everybody's cool with it, work up to three.
No, two's good. For now.
I'll take what I can get.
Finger blasting is fun with friends.
But if my friends aren't around, I'll just finger blast myself.
Nice!
Don't be a food prude. Surprise the crew by dipping into two sauces at once.
Whoa, that's a shocker.
Let's be real.
Yum.
I'm not trying to convince you of anything. It's kind of like the government's trying to tell the people that they can't do something.
You can do what you want to do. You just can't dictate to anyone else what they do about it. That's how human relations work.
How come you can do the same thing?
I don't even understand the question. I'm not doing the same thing. I'm not forcing you to do anything. I'm literally not forcing you to do anything. I'm telling you to leave me alone.
Say Cole Palmer backwards.
Black Auckland.
Say Sigma backwards.
Agnes.
Competitive.
Ibis Smoke.
Owen.
Nuo.
Toro.
Arrot.
Chippy Chips.
Ibigri Hohick.
Sometime in your life, I'm too competitive.
Ibis me in Film me or Kiki gave it to Mark.
This is one bad bitch, dude.
That scared the shit out of me.
Did?
I can tell.
They counted on America to be passive.
Heather. Is that you, Heather? What is that?
Because bombs are falling from the sky, will hit the target. Time to simplify. Whoa, time to simper fucking fly. Oh yeah.
What's up, everybody? How you doing today? Nice to see you here. And what do we go to? Oh shit, welcome in. It's Tuesday night, and we're getting it on. I got a lot for you tonight. My name is Kane. This is the Kane Show. You can call me Caney Wavy. Just don't call me late for dinner. All right, so we got Tony's here. He's got his hat on tonight, and is she in here? Do I have enough mods to take care of this? Dynamite! Tony's got his hat and everything. It's staying on. Oh. It's been staying on till just now. Alright, so what do we got? Rockford coming in tonight. Jenn coming in and we might, maybe, let me see. Now you funny too. Where you guys at? Hey, there's Maury. What's up? Let me get a drink. We might have this young lady, Chelsea Whitaker. We've been watching her. We've been checking her out. She does a great show. She goes strong for 8 hours. And she's funny from beginning to end. She's just as witty, just as smart, just as informative. And she's been doing the Murdoch case and comparing the cell phone data with the Brian Kohberger case. And she's made some great points. And I honestly haven't been able to keep up with her. She'll go 8 hours, and at this point, after listening to her all these times, I sound echo, like there's an echo in here. The wind is whipping up outside. If you know anything about Florida, it's crazy weather coming right now. But anyway, yeah, I can't keep up with her, and her voice, honestly, now is putting me to sleep. So I've slept through let's just say, portions of Chelsea Whitaker's broadcast there. And hi, Victorini. And, yeah, her voice will put me to sleep, but that's not all it does. No, okay, alright. I'm wild tonight. Here we go, let's see.
I'm done.
There's what it feels like. It just goes right over your head like that, and you love it. Here it is. There you go, folks. This is New Orleans, and that's what it'd be looking like. No words could adequately describe this advertisement, but it's happening from Lafayette to Baton Rouge over to New Orleans. You got snow, and I don't know how they chose that cart, because the wheels haven't fallen off yet. Let's see. Oh my God, let's see. Let me see that. And is it me or do I sound weird? Maybe if I put it like, yeah, that's not better. Alright, and let me see here. Am I too loud? Am I not loud enough? Maybe that's what it is. I'm not loud enough. There. Maybe that's... Alright, I almost lost chat. Dana Smith in the house. We're going to get rid of this thing. Come on, man. What are you doing? Okay, so there's a lot. Today was the secret hearing, and Translucent put something in the chat. Hey, Mark and Betty, how are you? Podcast for Peterson was here. And somebody's kicked her out yet, huh? Okay. That guilter. Now we got snow. And what do you say? I said I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in that hearing today. I can only imagine where they're going with everything, and if they even talked about the Franks, and what experts were discussed, whatever it'll be. But there is an article. I do have a semi follow-up article here about that. I just wanted to remind everybody that this is where I live. This is like 5 minutes away from my house right here. Tony's here. Twiz is watching. This guy is not going to stop. So that's what it literally looks like that today. Sorry about your luck. I don't know. So John Sykes, Whitesnake, and Thin Lizzy guitar player passed away. And a couple stories have actually come out about the Thin Lizzy and the band. A guy from the band passed away. He was 79. And if anybody remembers the band, it had some good tunes. And you can have anything, or you can crap anywhere you want at Alice's. That's not the band, is it? No. Anyway, so he passed away. But the guy from the band that passed away was a drummer. And he played on Saturday Night Live. And when he was on the show, he got familiar with the cast. And so one day he was hanging out. And one of the cast members stole his girlfriend or whatever. And so Robin Williams is hanging out at this hotel. And this chick gets called over that both the band and Thin Lizzy, I guess, had both written songs about this chick, right? And so she shows up at the hotel where Robin Williams is at, and he had to leave because he just got a really weird vibe from this girl. He was scared of her, to be honest with you. And turns out she was there to visit John Belushi, and it was the girl that gave him the final thing. So that's all tied in. There's all kinds of craziness with that Laurel Canyon crowd there, which they were. All right, so check this out.
Mr. President, can I ask you a question? I cannot answer this from my constituents in Louisiana. Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? Like, I don't understand, liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? Because you understand, we just talked about Ukraine. You understand you're fueling Vladimir Putin's war machine because they got to get their gas from him, And he looks at me, stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. And I said, Mr. President, yes, you did. It was an executive order, 3 weeks ago. And he goes, no, I didn't do that. And he's arguing with me. I said, Mr. President, respectfully, could I go out here and ask your secretary to print it out? We'll read it together. You definitely did that. And he goes, oh, you talk about natural gas. Yes, sir. He said, no, you misunderstand. He said, what I did is I signed this thing we're gonna conduct a study on the effects of LNG. I said, no, you're not, sir. You paused it. I know. I have the export terminals in my state. I talked to those people this morning. This is doing massive damage to our economy, national security. It occurred to me, Barry, he was not lying to me. He genuinely did not know what he had signed. And I walked out of that meeting with fear and loathing because I thought, we're in serious trouble. Who is running the country?
If I never have to see a picture again, I'm not going to do politics, and I know some of you are not happy today that the Agent Orange is taking back over, but we'll see how things go for us in the next few years. This is Chicago PD says it will not assist with upcoming ICE deportations. I don't know. This looks like it could be one of those misleading headlines because the PD's job not necessarily is to do ICE. So if the ICE agents in Chicago didn't want to do the deportations, that would be one thing. But they make a big mountain out of a molehill here, and it's interesting to hear.
That would have allowed ICE agents to work with city police to remove migrants with criminal charges. Raymond Lopez is one of the Democrat Chicago aldermen who made that proposal. He joins me now. Alderman, what does it say about your fellow Democrats on the city council that they not only shot this down, but overwhelmingly shot this down?
39 out of 50 members of the city council said no. No to working with the incoming administration, no to working with ICE when we arrest individuals who not only may be arrested or convicted of drugs or gang issues, but people who are human trafficking, people who are involved in prostitution and pimping people.
All right, that's enough of that right there. I just wanted to use that as a lead up for a couple of the stories that I got for today for you. And thank you for being here. I'm Kane. This is Kane B's The Purge. If it's your first time in, hit that subscribe button for me and do all the
People are
things.
involved in sex crimes
And we'll
against
get
minors. It's embarrassing. It's
get the
outrageous.
show out there in the world. Thank you, everybody. So here it is. You've been asking me if there's snow in Florida. Ta-da! Welcome to the free state, the frozen state of Florida. There it is for you. So we're getting winds, and it's supposed to get down to maybe 50 degrees tonight. So we're really bundling up. And if you're freezing up to your neck, I don't know what to think. All right, so let's see what else we got here. Long Island dad reveals horror of 14-year-old daughter who vanished mysteriously for a month and was found on a boat. That's the dad, that's the daughter, and that's the boat. So there's a follow-up. There was a second guy, I believe, arrested, and she was held on a boat for 26 days. And it was a complete nightmare. They plied her with and trafficked her, and she said it was a horrific month-long ordeal that ended on a boat docked at Islip Marina. And they were real close. You could see from some of the pictures on other pages, not here. But yeah. And so they recovered her, thankfully, and got the guy. Let me get back to that one there. Here's a good one.
Okay, Dad, you have two options. A, staying quarantined in the house with Mom, or B...
B.
There's a memory for you. Our memories used to be reruns, right? And then Superfly's here. Danger Zone. How are you doing, Danger Zone? Now our memories are vines and memes. That's what the next thing's going to be. This is how they program us, you guys. I'm telling you. This is all planned ahead. So this is the Tic Tac UFO. You've probably already seen these last couple. I just wanted to, I like to cover all the bases. Well, I wasn't going to shave the whole deal, but I started trimming this side. I'm backwards now, by the way. I started trimming this side. Am I backwards? I'm not backwards. Anyway, and so I got like a Walter White going on. And so this side was still the Cheech Marin. And so I was like, I would just went to it. And yeah, hopefully I feel like I look like a used old football right now. All right. Oh wait, I had a confession. I'll get to it. All right. This dog is funny. He got so used to getting the table scraps. He's gonna be so mad at that guy later. Okay. Sorry. Alright, so pivotal hearing. This was from before. This is the prelim. In hearings this week that will likely set the table for this summer's murder trial, Brian Kohberger and his attorneys will return to the courtroom for the first time, as we know. Blah, 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 blah. The defense has asserted that all this evidence and still more, including from 2 search warrants for Kohberger's person when he was briefly jailed in Pennsylvania and again when he was brought to Idaho to await trial, should be withheld from a jury over alleged police misconduct. Kohberger, who turned 30 in November, has now spent over 2 years in custody since his arrest in late 2020 on suspicion of the fatal stabbings that took place in the early morning hours. And we know that. At that time, Kohberger and his PhD student was a student of criminal justice and criminology at WSU and lived in Pullman, about 9 miles west. 11 days after police first arrived at Kohberger as a suspect, they arrested him at his parents' home. Detectives working the quadruple murder case intentionally or recklessly omitted certain details from the investigation to convince a judge of probable cause for search warrants. Kohberger's defense said in the court filings. In addition, some of the warrants weren't as specific as required by law about what they sought, wrote his attorneys, and in what would prove most damaging to the prosecution if accepted by the judge, the defense is seeking to block the use of their client's genetic information in the case, filed under seal. His attorneys argued that Kohberger's Fourth Amendment rights against unreasonable search and seizure were infringed upon when the FBI pursued an advanced DNA technique called IgG by using public ancestry websites to narrow the list of possible suspects. Police obtained most of the other evidence through search warrants after IgG first led them to Kohberger as a suspect on December 19th, 5 weeks after. His attorney argued all of that should be thrown out as a result of initially violating the constitutional rights. Led by Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson, state attorneys contested the defense's arguments to suppress any of the evidence and disputed claims that police did not follow proper procedures during the investigation, of course. The probable cause affidavit from Kohberger's arrest did not mention the use of IgG, but it was not intended as evidence for trial, Thompson said, and also wanted used as justification for any search warrants. It wasn't used. The defense last week filed a motion to unseal the two sides of IgG suppression filings and asked that the hearing on that evidence be held in open court. In response, 4th District Judge Hitler set a closed-door hearing for today at 10 a.m. at Ada County Courthouse to decide how to proceed ahead of a previously scheduled public hearing for oral arguments on the evidence suppression issue set for Thursday morning right here on the Purge with me, Kane B, guys. So join me for that. I'd like to, if Swamp's here, I'd like to invite you to do a co-host on that if you would like to join me Thursday morning. I will be doing that, and I'd love to have you here. The defense last week filed a motion to unseal the two sides of... Anticipating a Fourth Amendment argument over the FBI's use in the high-profile case, Thompson wrote in a June 23rd court filing that such a defense does not comport with standing legal proceedings. Kohberger's DNA was discovered on a leather sheath. Okay, so Kohberger's DNA was found on a leather sleeve for a combat-style knife found at the crime scene, according to police and prosecutors. Because that evidence was abandoned, Kohberger cannot assert it is protected, nor can he claim a private suit issued from the user of his relative's DNA in the IgG process to develop a family tree, Thompson said. Kohberger's discovered on a leather sheath for a combat-style knife found at the crime scene, according to police and prosecutors. Because that evidence was abandoned, Kohberger cannot assert it is protected, nor can he claim a privacy issue from the use of his relative's DNA. So that's how they get you. You see? Do you see it right there? That's their argument. That's why they used his dad's DNA. Because then it's not a privacy issue to him. going to be a tough one. Defendant cannot show that he had a reasonable expectation of privacy in DNA left at the scene of a quadruple homicide or in genetic information of his relatives who voluntarily provided their own DNA to a genetic genealogy service. Now, in Britain, they have privacy with these genealogy services. Yeah, they're gonna try to shove that down their throat. Defendant cannot show that he had a reasonable expectation of privacy. Attorney David Gurney is a national IGG expert and director of Ramapo College, New Jersey's IGG Center. He said that he expected the defense in the Kohberger case would raise a Fourth Amendment challenge and that such an argument is almost certain to fail. There is no Fourth Amendment violation in the use of IGG, Gurney said Monday in an email to the Idaho statement. Every court that has heard challenges to use the abandoned DNA by law enforcement has rejected them. The use of crime scene DNA does not even constitute a search, so the Fourth Amendment is not implicated. The prior judge in the Kohberger case also appeared skeptical about a constitutional rights defense against the use of IGG. But after an 8-month battle, awarded Kohberger's attorney at least some of those records in the case. 8 months, some records. Again, the prior judge, JJJ, also appeared skeptical about a constitutional rights defense. At least some of the records were given over. At the defense's urging, the trial was later moved to Boise. The prosecution said the FBI used one or more public ancestry websites during the investigation, but has not revealed which ones. Law enforcement does not have access to the known companies called Family Tree DNA and GED Match, both of which were used to solve the Golden State Killer case. Another genealogy website, MyHeritage, also helped identify the suspect in California. Whether they used GED Match, Family Tree DNA, MyHeritage, or any combination makes no difference to the Fourth Amendment analysis. After the FBI's IGG results settled on Kohberger, agents then sent Idaho police a tip to investigate him as the suspect. Thompson said, traditional investigative techniques were then employed by detectives to build their case against Kohberger and eventually attain an arrest warrant based on probable cause. Problem is, they got the IGG and then they got to Kohberger, but they didn't got nothing. The IGG process pointed law enforcement toward the defendant, Thompson wrote, but it did not provide law enforcement with substantive evidence of guilt. Once Kohberger was arrested, police swabbed his mouth and received a statistical match in a comparison with the DNA lifted off the knife sheath and discovered at the crime scene, Thompson said. The state would plan to present that evidence at trial, he said, not anything to do with IGG, which proponents have called nothing more than another crime-solving technique increasingly used by police in active investigations. It is unclear whether the arguments over suppressing the IGG will take place at the public hearing later this week. Hippler is expected to rule on the issue in advance of Thursday's hearing. I don't know when we'll know. I hope we will know soon. Hello, Joey Aguilera. And Rini and Phil is here. Oh, you all. I thought I saw Miss Potts earlier, too. And I know we got Rockford. It's okay. Woo. Oh, man. So you see now what the argument is. And it gives Hitler a reason to reject it. And this is why this is scary. So that's enough for my head right now. Let's check in with Rockford. Rockford, you out there? And let's get some Rockford shit, huh? What do you think? Where you at, Rockford? Give me a call, Will. Calling Rockford. Rockford coming. I went to this thing this week. Look, you guys. Got my own. I was gonna put KG's The Purge today. I was just gonna put it on my forehead like that game in Inglourious Bastard. Rockford, calling Rockford. This is Orson. Calling Rockford. Where are you, Rockford? We're gonna have Jenn later on tonight, about 10 o'clock. 9 o'clock, something like that. You never know. Chelsea Whitaker might show up. You never know. I'm afraid with Chelsea Whitaker I might not be able to get a word in edgewise. Alright, let's lead him in here. What up, bro?
Pretty good. I just had to hit mute on my laptop.
That took 15 minutes, huh?
What's that?
I'm just fucking with you. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
Good. Where are you coming back from?
I'm home now.
Cool.
Yeah, I had a little, went down to my friend's house in Jenn for an hour, and I was driving home when you called.
Oh, cool.
Had to wait till I got to a light to message you back.
Did you guys do some country or metal or what?
No. He's got a singer-songwriter thing, and I just play drums. He's got a few songs.
That's cool. How was it? Good?
Yeah, it was fun.
So, yeah, I had the thing. Did you see Obama and Clinton get booed coming into the inauguration?
And Pence.
And Pence, I couldn't even believe Pence showed up. That blew my mind right there.
Yeah.
I did see
There's been some fairly interesting developments over the past couple of days.
Yeah, what I've been concentrating on other stuff with this case. What did I miss?
Well, I mean, I think you hit on a couple of them. You said you didn't really want to talk about politics, and neither do I, but just the fact that the president got inaugurated, and I was just pretty impressed that he was signing those executive orders and taking questions at the same time, man. I was like, damn. And then he stayed up for he's been up for 2 days, going to all these parties and balls. And I don't know, I just thought it was pretty impressive.
That hat Melania had on was something else.
Oh, man, that was... God, she's a beautiful woman. I can't believe they didn't put her on some magazines back in the day. Hopefully this time she'll get her due.
Well, yeah, she. Can you guys hear Rockford? Hold on, wait. Yeah, they can hear you. What was I saying? Yeah, she came out with a Bitcoin, didn't she?
Well, I guess Trump came up with one, and then a couple days later he did one for Melina. I don't know. I don't know an awful lot about cryptocurrency.
Well, apparently it came out and it was worth billions right away. So, I wonder...
Well, what I saw was Trump came out with his and it got up to a few billion. And then when Melina came out with hers, his went down or something. But, I don't know, you can't believe hardly anything you see nowadays.
Yeah, I just played that that TikTok UFO video for a second there, and to me that looks fake as fuck. I don't know if I'm buying that or though that's the thing is the faker something look, the more real it turns out to be a lot of times. You know what I'm saying?
So the guy that produced that video,
yeah,
that came out with a video. Apparently, it's not his video. even though he did the same exact thing. But there's a secondary story that he was talking about when he went to pick up a different retrieval that was more like a saucer, and he said right before he got to it, he started feeling a little woozy. And, you know, flying a helicopter, you gotta, wow, should I turn around? But he went ahead and did it, and he said that something connected with him in his head. He had this, like, really, like a spiritual well-being feeling. He felt as if it connected with him. Really weird. Something to look into, anyway.
Like an
Which is
emotional...
fascinating because they always say that aliens, you know, quote-unquote aliens, communicate telepathically.
Yeah, it's like an emotional telepathy, though, it sounds like.
Yeah, he said he got really emotional, like he was going to cry, but then he just felt like everything was okay. Really weird if anybody wants to look it up. And I think we talked about that the other night.
Yeah, I'll pull it up a little bit later. We got a lot of Idaho 4 stuff to get to. Shit Rockford don't care about. What do you call it, though? What do you think of the snow coming down there in the Panhandle?
Wow. I just read a post that it was 28 in the Panhandle and 70 in Miami.
I mean, everybody...
Like 6 hours ago, but...
Literally this morning, I woke up to my buddy in Arkansas, and they're below zero. And I'm like, it's 50 degrees here. I want you to feel sorry for me. I didn't get any sympathy out of that.
I looked up my home state of Maine, my hometown up in Maine, a little while ago. It was 7 degrees. It's going to go down to minus 12 overnight.
Are you serious?
Has a heart attack.
That has to
up there, bro.
That has to be the most extreme temperature change I've ever heard of.
No, 7 degrees to minus 12.
Oh, 7.
Yeah.
I thought you said 70. Holy shit.
Oh, no. Sorry.
That's like if the sun was blocked out.
I'll tell you what, though. Maine is pretty fascinating because in the summertime it can get up to 100 to 102 degrees, hotter than here. And then in the wintertime it can get down to 30 to 40 below. That's like over 100-degree difference. I'm sure there's a lot of other northern places that are like that, but I've experienced it myself, so
that is nuts, yeah. But the one thing about up north there, Pennsylvania and all those states, is that, you know, they're hot during the day and whatever. Maybe New York, you know, where it's a concrete jungle, not so much. But I find that at night, whereas, you know, we'll get into the 80s at night in the summer, maybe 79 if you're lucky. It goes down into the 60s and 50s at night up north, from what I've seen anyway.
I'll tell you something that I tell a lot of people. I might have told you this before, but since we got some people listening, you know, because people complain about the heat down here, and like out in Arizona where it gets 112. But I'll tell you something. If you broke down in your car down on, let's say, Alligator Alley, right?
Yeah.
And you had to spend 3 days in the Florida heat, you could survive because you could go find some shade, you know, get out of the sun.
Jump
and,
in.
you know, 3 days before you die of no water. But there's plenty of water. But up north, dude, when it's 10 below zero and you break down out in the woods, you're dead. If you don't have some kind of a, you know, way to heat yourself up, the cold will kill you fast.
Yeah, it's no joke. We don't even think about that. Like when it's August 28th here and it's been 95 for 3 months and we're just like, oh man, I would dream of 30 degrees. It would be like free air conditioning. And then you get it and you realize if I got stuck in this, boy, I would be cooked. So yeah, I don't think I'm cut out to live up north. I couldn't do the Alaska shrimping boat thing or something like that. I don't think I could.
Either. And I mean, I grew up there. I don't know how I did it because now it gets 50 degrees and my thumb goes numb, you know?
Yeah, no, my knee started acting up from Amazon today. I was just like, what the world? So, all right, one thing I'm worried about, Rock, and it's not your thing, but since you're here, seeing all those billionaires together now, it seems...
Oh, go ahead, because I got something to say about that.
Yeah, well, to just give you my quick opinion on it, it seems like, well, maybe the billionaires have taken control of this country, and maybe... we gotta watch our ass. I know that things are gonna get better. I know that improvements will be made, but it is kind of a scary dystopian thought, really. What do you think?
Well, the thing about these billionaires is we see them.
It's a different class of billionaire. I'll give you that.
No. Well, listen to this, because the billionaires that fund the other guys, you don't see them.
No, you don't even know their names, really.
Like George Soros, who puts billions of dollars into campaigns for attorney generals in states, blue states, and they don't prosecute crime. They let people go.
Right.
And not only that, they do some other... These billionaires are out in the open, and they provide pretty decent services for people. I mean, I don't like the way, Amazon shits on their employees, but Walmart does too, but those are places where we can get stuff cheap, delivered. They provide a pretty good service. Now, Elon Musk, if you like electric vehicles, he makes a pretty good one, I'm not into him, but unless he made a golf cart, I'd get one.
Well, they came out with an RV, actually, that is a Tesla vehicle. And I was telling my buddy Twiz about it. He's like, yeah, that would work great until you get out into the woods and you can't charge it. I mean, here in Florida, we don't think about it because it's got a solar panel on it. But up there, you got a whole different...
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, like what you were saying, the one thing about an electric vehicle, if you run out of battery and you got a couple solar panels, might take you a day, but in some place like Florida, you could actually charge it up. Whereas if you run out of gas, you're not going to drill some oil and refine it into gasoline to get your car to go.
Aha! Speaking of drilling oil, let's talk about the Gulf of America.
Oh my God. So, turns out Ron DeSantis, our governor down here, was the first governor to say it publicly. So that was pretty funny. And then I was listening to the news while I was driving earlier, and the guy on the news called it the Gulf of America. I think it's awesome, bro.
Well, I think Trump mentioned it in his inauguration address.
Oh, he's going to change it.
Yeah. And why is he going to change it, Rock?
Well, because there's two parts to this answer that I have. Number one, that's awesome.
I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious.
But number two, right before Biden went out, he signed a bunch of stuff so that you can't drill in the Gulf of Mexico. But if it's called the Gulf of America,
you can drill there.
It's like a bait and switch kind of thing.
Hey, Swamp.
And I don't know if that's true or not. I heard that on somebody say that. I thought it was comical.
Apparently,
but I will say that when I was watching the inauguration yesterday and he said that, Hillary Clinton started laughing.
Well, did you see him? He was smoking Biden right in front of Biden.
I mean, oh my God, bro. I couldn't even believe it. That was quite the thing to see. And a lot of good things that he said, people stood up and clapped, and all those, even the Republican George Bush didn't stand up and clap. Those are the warmongers, Republicans and Democrats. They were all sitting in that corner. Oh, and while we're on the subject of that, how about Kerry?
Kerry? Oh, John Kerry?
Kerry Underwood?
Oh, what happened with that? What did she do?
Well, she was going to sing, it's not the Star Spangled Banner, but Oh Beautiful for Spacious Skies, or whatever that one is. Anyway, one of the I don't know, one of the government officials came up and said, we can't get the music to work. And she just said, well, I'll just do it. Everybody sing with me. And she did it a cappella and fucking nailed it. Brought a tear to my eye.
Wow.
She's got such a beautiful voice.
America the Beautiful or whatever, right? Yeah. That's crazy. I haven't heard of that yet. I'm going to have to check it out.
You know us being musicians, but to pull that off a cappella when she was planning on having music,
they had all kinds of technical problems. Apparently, Billy Ray Cyrus had trouble getting set up. Miley Cyrus's dad. It's Miley. But anyway, what else going on?
Not much. Just
getting settled in.
The one since we're talking about the politics and stuff, Elon Musk doing the Heil Hitler.
Yeah,
thing.
what was that? I saw a picture of it, but I figured they were making something out of nothing.
No, he really did it, but I don't think he knew what he was doing. Because I don't see him as a Nazi kind of guy. And even if he was, why would you do that on live? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it seems nuts.
But he's kind of an awkward, maybe on the spectrum kind of guy. So, and he's always excited and jumping and woo-hooing and throwing his arms up in the air. But that's the big controversy that I've seen today, that everybody's, giving him shit for doing that, especially the other side of the aisle and stuff.
Yeah, they had, I guess Trump pardoned the Proud Boys guy, right? Was it one of his first things?
Well, he pardoned all the January 6 people, but there was I think 15 to 20 of them that are under review.
I see.
But, interestingly, though, I just found out a few minutes ago, which I didn't really know, I heard about the story long ago, but didn't think I forgot about it. He pardoned the guy that ran the Silk Road website.
Yeah.
You know anything about that?
I never thought that guy would get out, ever. If anybody's not familiar with Silk Road, that was in the early days of the internet, it was like a black, was it a dark web thing or whatever? It was like the first dark web.
You could go on there and buy drugs.
You could buy anything. Yeah, like it was crazy.
Well, it was mainly drugs.
I see.
There wasn't any child porn or any of that shit.
Okay. I assume they all were.
The interesting thing about that case, talking about, law and order and stuff, is they gave him life without parole for a non-violent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of extreme, I think.
Well, it got out of his hands.
I don't know, but I don't think he was selling the drugs. I think he just made the site.
Yeah, I think everything got out of control, and he just tried to maintain it and maintained it for so long that it got nuts. But
and then, interestingly enough, all the politicians were like, well, this is going to set an example, and not as many people will go and do it. Right after that, 3 or 4 other sites popped up, and they sold even more. And so it was kind of comical in that regard.
Yeah, there was a few like Tumblr and stuff like that were doing it for a while. I know that. Cool.
I get my drugs off Walgreens website. Yeah, the legal ones.
Speaking of that, I'm going to get back to this Idaho 4 shit, and
all right, man.
I appreciate you bringing it on, brother. I'll probably talk to you tomorrow or something.
Okay, sounds good, bro.
All right, bro. Thanks for being here. That's Rockford, everybody.
Let me just say to everybody out there that's listening, man. Woo!
I feel you, dude.
Yeah. All right, Kane. Take care of your audience. Take care. And if you're new, hit like and subscribe.
Thank you, brother.
All right, bud.
See you, man. All right, everybody. That's Rockford, and let's keep on with it. Let's keep on rocking. All right, so we had that one, and that one we're just holding off on for a second. Let's see if we get to it here. We did that guy. And this was a quick little blurb. I meant to bring this up with Rockford here real quick, but Jake Paul and Mike Tyson draw criticism from boxing fans over Donald Trump ball video. And I guess this is probably it here. I'm going to go right to a commercial, of course. And you can buy Mint Mobile. They will take your money. Here we go. All right.
There we go. You got it. Yeah!
You know, they say you never really know somebody till you get drunk with them, you go on vacation with them, you live with them, and you fight with them. So apparently they've declared each other best friends. Whatever that means, they've made a bunch of money together, and that can be a bonding experience. All right, everybody loves this guy. Let's get the commercial out of the way and check
Governor,
this out.
I still can't imagine why people think more of illegal aliens committing crime than they do honest, law-abiding citizens of the state of Florida and the United States of America. I don't understand that. The law enforcement officers of the state of Florida will do their job. Our governor is the leader. Our governor is saying, now's the time and we're the place to set the example of how we can protect people and keep them safe in the free state of Florida. And I leave with this message: southbound and down. Do it yourself. You can self-deport and avoid a lot of prison sentence. But it's time. Southbound and down. Thank you, Governor.
He's always got something to offer, right? Isn't Jason Aldean the one? Yeah, okay. So this is from Heather Fitzgerald, I believe, here. And this is a cute little story about trafficking.
Why did no one tell Florida drivers about this new rule?
If you are currently insured, about that.
drive less than 50.
Thanks for hanging in. Thanks for
Another
being here
U.S.
tonight.
Marshal investigation took them all the way to Iceland.
This is a wild story. It's where they found 2 children from Canton who had been reported missing since October.
Tonight, News 5's Clay Lepard pieces together how they ended up in Iceland and how police tracked them down.
It's a case that begins in Canton and ends nearly 3,000 miles away. In October, a grandmother reported her daughter and 2 grandchildren, 8 and 9 years old, were missing. Police reports detail how the mother of those children stopped taking her medication for schizophrenia. For the past 3 months, police traced the woman and her children all over the country, from a cell phone pinging in Syracuse, New York, a bank card registering in Oregon, and a phone call from New Hampshire. Then police say they tracked the 3 to Denver, Colorado, and then they left the country, going to London, an island in the English Channel, and a remote fishing island in Iceland.
Icelandic officials were kind of keeping track of them and their location until we could get the proper court orders for them to be able to take the children into custody.
Ultimately, we're told authorities found the 3 at a hotel in Reykjavik, the capital city of Iceland, last week.
Sometimes we're able to find them within a couple hours, sometimes a couple days. Sometimes we find them a couple counties over, a couple states over. But this is the first time we've been able to find missing kids as far away as Iceland.
It's not clear at this time if that woman will face any criminal charges. That woman, we're told, is currently at a hospital in Iceland until she's brought back to the U.S., while her children have been reunited with other family. In Canton, Clay Lepard, News 5.
Welcome to the Capitol, everybody.
All right, so yeah, that's Ohio there. Still story from Heather. We wonder, where do these kids go, right, when they're taken? Look at the trafficking routes. England to whatever. All over. When these kids disappeared in these last 40 years, we've been helpless to figure out what pizza parlor they're at. Anyway, so that was, I thought, very interesting. Thank you for that, Heather Fitzgerald. And this is another one here. Check this out. if you can.
The murder of 4 University of Idaho students will be facing a judge for a hearing on whether or not his hearing set for later this week is going to be open to the public. If a judge decides they will not be open to the public, then Thursday and Friday's hearings won't be accessible to the public by either in-person or video. We're going to be monitoring this hearing and bring you updates from the judge's decision when we get it. You can stay with Fox 13 for continuing coverage. And today, Brian Kohberger will be back in a courtroom.
Welcome in, Cold to Covered, and Twiz is here. What's up, my man? Everybody check out Twiz's channel. Get over there, and Colder Covered's got some great stuff going on, too. Translucent, Heather, Jenn, all my girls there. Okay, so let's see what else we got today. Fire chief shot and killed after stopping to help driver who hit deer with their car. And there's your feel-good story for the day. I guess we'll listen to the blurb real quick.
Y'all see this? Patrick Mahomes is saying goodbye.
30 seconds. Well, a fire chief in Alabama has been shot and killed after he stopped to help a driver who had hit a deer with their vehicle. The incident occurred approximately 5 p.m. on Saturday in Chambers County. Deputies Alabama were dispatched to County Road 267. Here, let's check out the news blurb of it if we can. Here, 3, 2, 1. Audio problem. Okay, this is just one of those like little trivia things. But yeah, that's like I think the 4th story we've done in as many weeks of somebody stopping to help and paying the price. And he was apparently a really great guy. Been on the force 24 years there. And this is the clown that did it. Unreal. So there's that. And then we got meet the 34-year-old engineer. I just thought this was neat. Who quit his day job to transform a cave into a vacation rental. Now it's booked out a year in advance, raking over $700K a year. And there, I guess there's our interview. I just wanted to show you the picture. Look at that of the house, and he quit his job to do it. Now there's no. I'm sorry. There's no interior shots. I can only assume that it is what it is. See what you see is what you get. There might be like a little room back here, but what a beautiful landscape and everything. Isn't that nice? So anyway, okay. So all right, this is Miss Potts, and let me blow this up a little bit for you guys to see better. I got it on really small. No wonder. All right. So 2 out-of-state witnesses testify via Zoom. So if you guys missed this little comment that she posted on 115 is declared a subpoena was issued. So they didn't issue the subpoena for these 2 people until the 15th of this year. On the 16th, subject document, motion to redact or seal newly filed record, stipulation to allow out-of-state and witnesses to testify with Zoom, motion to redact or seal newly filed records, motion to seal stipulation to allow out-of-state witnesses to testify via Zoom. And let's look at some of the comments. And I wonder if it's Funk. That's Angel Great Britain there. Are they witnesses who I think? And what do you guys think? It appears to me this will be a closed hearing to the public. Is that right? Also, I heard if this trial will be closed, that it will violate BK's rights and he will go to prison. I don't know, Miss Potts. Honestly, I hope he will get a lot of luck sent his way. So they won't be brought into the state, but it does literally say witnesses. And the only 2 witnesses I can think of that are out of state right now, that were the only 2 witnesses, are the 2 witnesses. That's a hammer to the head. Substitute teachers show and tell goes horribly wrong. Explicit images lead to arrest. And listen, if you haven't moved to Florida, don't do it. Come on down. It's beautiful down here. You love it. We got plenty of room. Get in here. However, don't go to Lake Wales. Don't go to Lake City. Anything with lake in front of it, stay away from. Well, folks, it seems some substitute teachers take show and tell a little too literally far. According to a report from WFLA, a former substitute teacher in Lake Wales is in hot water after allegedly displaying illicit images of herself to elementary school students. Remember how when the sub was coming, you get all excited, and even the nerdy kid was dancing? You're like, what, do we have a sub? We have a sub today? And then you got the sub whipping out, hey, check out my spread here. It's like a buffet. Come on. Yeah. Anyway, Lakes. How much is Boise State's football coach paid? College presidents see our pay database. So here it is, you guys. The big boom, the big bang for you and me and everybody else today. Which Idaho University employees make the most money? What about the staffs on their athletic programs? An Idaho Statements database compiled pay data for employees at the state's 4 public 4-year colleges: Boise State, University of Idaho, Idaho State, and Lewis Clark State College. The 2 highest paid university employees in Idaho are athletic coaches. You got to think about that athletic program, you guys. Now, anyway. Boise State football coach Spencer Danielson and basketball coach Leon Rice both make more than $1 million. University of Idaho president Scott Green makes $479,000 annually. Now, while Boise State President Marlene Tromp makes over $473,000. Some adjunct faculty earn a few $1,000s per year. If you're adjunct, that's like a part-time, I guess. So there it is. Now, you have to take in account. He's got $479,000. Then he's got, allegedly, the embezzlement fund. No, he's got the board of directors that he sits on. And the other people in the other schools and the other boards of directors sit on his boards of directors. And they make all the decisions one time a year. And those even pay more than probably his salary. And he gets a residence. He gets the presidential palace there right next to the high tower. And female WSU student arrested for allegedly stabbing man inside dorm hall. I mean, you know, it's funny. Me and Twiz are actually talking about. I'm just like, oh, he's like, yeah, I'm chilling down, whatever, where they hang out. And I'm like, yeah, there any hot chicks down there? He's like, chicks be crazy. They be making up lies. You know, I'm like, oh, come on, they're just kids. And so then I saw this story. And I was like, amen, bro. Amen. A female Washington State student has been arrested for allegedly stabbing a man inside a dorm on campus. WSU police were called to Orton Hall early Monday morning around 1:30 for a report of a stabbing. Officers found a 20-year-old man with a knife wound on his arm. Officers determined the 20-year-old Tatiana Martinez allegedly stabbed the man. She was quickly located and arrested for felony second-degree assault. So the guy was treated and released. He was okay. I thought there was a picture of this girl. I think I have a picture of her somewhere. It might come up. But
Who's the pretty... This lady? Wrong, dude. That's our girlfriend, man. Yeah. What's your name, the girlfriend? Oh my God, that is beautiful. What's your name, dude? I don't care for it. What, Charmaine, where did you meet Miles? Cool. Well, if you ever want a different caliber man, then, you know what I mean? I'll be at the gym. Miles is handsome. Was he charming on the first date? He brought me on a hike. Okay. Big spender, Miles. Someone's not making that Costco money. Okay. And then what? Packed lunch, I assume. How did it conclude? Okay, cool. And that's where I was waiting. Who's this lady? Wrong, dude.
I love the packed lunch part. Yeah. WSU officer involved shooting investigation completed. So they shot an armed student at the, oh, looks like we got something from... All right, we'll have Jen on soon there in a minute, so that's great, guys. Thanks for letting us know, Jen. Awesome. Just call him when you're ready, my dear. And what do you call it? How do you think this turned out? Is there an investigation where it does lead to charges for the police officers? And so I think more likely in this case, you can decide for yourself. The incident began when WSU student John Bazan reportedly called 911, claiming that there was a man with a knife in the dormitory hallway. When officers arrived, they found Bazan matching the description he had provided. Bazan failed to comply with commands to remove his hands from his pockets and appeared to draw a weapon while advancing towards officers. Officer Tiedemann Mueller fired one shot, which did not hit Bazan, and officers were able to subdue him using a taser. Oh, maybe they would pursued it a little further if they'd hit the kid. The kid who called about somebody running around with a knife in the dorm was taken out and pretty much shot. And so the prosecuting attorney, I love the wording. The prosecuting attorney's office reviewed the case, which allows the use of deadly force when officers act in good faith to prevent imminent harm. The review concluded that Officer T. Mueller's actions were lawful, necessary, and appropriate under the circumstances. Fire! Fire! That's what I've heard, Pete Fox. It is what I've heard, but darn does it taste good. All I can tell you is you put as many tacos as you put in front of me, I will eat. I can't help myself. I'm weak. But I had a friend who worked there one year when we were like 16. He said the meat literally is powdered meat, and they rehydrate it or something. This is tourmaline. I want to mention that each one of those surfboards costs over $500. They're crowding into the exact same spot to catch the one wave that's coming in. And they're just running into each other. I've never seen anarchy like this ever. I've never seen anything that stupid. Anyway, just because it happened. Look at this. It's a floater. That's a floater right there. You kind of float up and down. But he does a kickflip. That's the first time that I've seen a kickflip other than in a video game on a surfboard there. Okay. San Diego wildfires force mandatory evacuations amid dangerous wind conditions. So these Santa Ana winds have ramped back up, and now where the fires typically burn in San Diego County. Now, San Diego County is a lot better about providing resources that prevent the spread of fires, yet it's going to happen every year. It's a natural occurrence, and it's very dependent on the wind, the wind speeds and whatever. And so this year, it's spreading, and it's almost like it's just coming south of LA. It's in Poway. I think I have a map here somewhere. But I got worried here when I saw this. And so let's see if I can make it. I can't make it bigger. All right, I don't know how well you guys can see here with these stupid ads. Okay, but here is basically La Jolla. And so you have, can you see my mouse? Yeah, okay, so you have the LA fires, and then you got it moving down south to Poway, and then through Encinitas. And so typically this is Julian out by the mountain ranges where you're going to have these fires every year. They have to stop them. They dedicate a lot of resources. So it was one of the cities listed here was La Jolla. And I'm not, it says, where is it? La Jolla Reservation. So I think that is out like University City area, which I have a lot of friends that live out there, this is the coast, and then you just go a little bit past the 5 freeway, so they're right on the tip of it. So if they lose their homes, they've all had their parents own those homes for 40 years, 30 years, and if they lose them, there's no coming back from that. There was a big deal made about Biden saying they were going to refund everybody 100% in California, when the people in North Carolina and Florida are fighting to get barely enough to even fix their homes. Nevertheless, we never got any money for food or any other, and they cut off the shelter with the hotels, which were booked up anyway. And now here in California, everybody's getting 100% reimbursed. I don't know. That whole thing's over, so we'll see how that actually works out. This is a satellite that crash landed, and I believe it was somewhere in Siam, and you can see. I can't help but wonder if this is real, because how in the world, these things are made out of aluminum. How in the world is it still so intact? So I don't know whether to believe, but residents baffled when space satellite crashes onto homes in India. I don't know. Seeing is believing, though, right? I guess I have to take it for what it's worth. This is, hilarious. A block of ice fell from a JetBlue plane and crashed through a couple's bedroom ceiling window. Now, I like this, first of all, because now you have, what blue ice is? You have blue ice falling off JetBlue, and it was like a basketball-sized piece of blue ice. And they never say blue ice in here. But at JetBlue, I think they ejaculated their blue ice at some point in the flight, and it went through the couple's bedroom. There are people that have passed away from getting hit by blue ice. Unfortunately, Joe Dirt wasn't one of them. But I just found it funny. I don't know if they're targeting this more and more or not, but here you have a block of blue ice fell off the jet plane, crashed through a couple's bedroom ceiling, and then you have a JetBlue advertisement right under a 10-page about how comfortable it is to stay on JetBlue. I flew in JetBlue's first class suite. I usually hate planes, but the seats made me feel like I was in my own living room. So you have to admit, it's smart advertising. You're trying to save the brand at the same time as your terrible stories coming out. All right, so this is a chiropractor guy, and he does the dog. And I've been looking for the dog ones because you guys keep asking about it. And but this is one of the better cracks. Now with my dog, he was a pity and a Dobie, so he was a little bit thinner. He was thick in his own way. He was very strong, but he wasn't one of those giant Mastiff style pit bulls. And so in this one, the guy does a hip adjustment, and you hear it the second time, it really cracks. But he does what I used to do to my dog to straighten his back, but I would wait till he started walking, and then you just pull on the tail gently, and the whole coccyx all the way up to the lower lumbar will crack and adjust them. But it used to catch him off guard, and he was like, oh! But it was perfect every time. He had a good back. Anyway, so this is, and then I think he adjusts his tail, so check it out.
Ja, komm jetzt verschoben. Gut, festhalten jetzt. Bruno, mein Schatz. Habibi.
Ja, fein. Ja, klasse. Oh.
Ja.
Super.
Gut, Schatz.
That second one was good.
Die Route. Locker. Jawohl.
My dog's tail would crack every single one to the last bone. Usually Dobies get their tails clipped for that reason, I guess, because they have, it's very delicate and they're sensitive. So anyway, I thought that was cool. So all right, check this out. Here, I'm going to show you something from my email. And I'm not doxing anybody here. Hopefully. I can't try to keep you posted on the job thing. I did get a job, everybody. Thank you for all the well wishes. I appreciate on that. And I'll be starting this week. But anyway, one of the jobs I had applied for, if you remember back in the day, was at Starbucks down the street in Clearwater. And they sent me a letter that right now they I'm sorry, Mimi. Some people are crack addicts. Some people are. But I love the sound of the cracking back. Anyway, so I applied for the job, and they sent me a letter that wasn't available at that time, but you may want to try one of these jobs. And so I've been waiting for a reasonable offer from Starbucks for quite some time. And the first one I got was, you may want to check out this job, and it was Kansas. And then we had Tacoma, Washington. And then New York. I live in Clearwater, Florida. So to keep you current, here we got shift supervisor, Brookfield Place, Liberty Street, New York. Vieira Canyon, Pine Tree Shopping Center, Salinas, California. Phoenix, Arizona. They haven't gotten my city right, but they send me an email with this like almost every day. I think it's hilarious. Anyway, so that's just me. All right. This is just a quick clip from Mod Tricka here, and
Let me introduce
this
you
is
to
kind of what we were talking about a
platform
minute
that
ago. Check it
replaces
out.
Be aware of how vulnerable your data is online, but if you're not protecting yourself because it's just too much work, then you're a prime target. Thankfully, Aura does pretty much all the work for you. You can go to Aura.com/modtricka to try 2 weeks for free. That'll be plenty of time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data has been exposed. Thank you, Aura, for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back to the video.
I'm Aria, the flagship female companion robot of Robotics. I'm here to have fun and chat with you.
How much are they? So a robot like Melody is $150,000, and that's fully AI capable and customized. But we can actually make the robot look like anything you want. So you can come to us and say, we would like to give us a picture of someone, and we can make that robot customized to you, and we can customize the AI so that it knows exactly what you want it to know. So it can learn about your company, it can learn about your product, okay, or it can be your girlfriend. Are we going to be like this?
I love Mod Tricka's face right there. wait till you see what it can do.
This is my God, this is my family member. Well, you could. We always say you can take our robots as a date to a wedding. And we have this here on display for people to touch, so you can give that a feel and see how that feels. These penises are all modular. So we could actually take the faces off Melody and Aria, throw this one on top. It's all magnetized or special technology. Press a button, and then you have a different robotic character. This allows us to provide flexibility for our clients. If they change their minds and they want a different character, we can design a different face for them, and then they can add that on very easily.
Are they easy to swap? How long does it take to swap?
It takes about 10 seconds. You just peel it off and then put the other one on. It's our patented system with
If you buy one of these, the last thing you want to do is bring it as a date to a wedding, unless you're okay with being a laughing stock, because you'll never live this one down.
SpaceX has confirmed their Starship Flight 7, which launched from South Texas earlier today and was meant to lap Earth and splash down in the Indian Ocean, has failed, and the explosion and debris were seen falling back into Earth's atmosphere and caught on camera by people in the Turks and Caicos.
I thought you were saying give her a new fact. I'm like, is that street slang that I missed? That's hilarious, Toes. Is that the Heather? Can you imagine if there was a Heather Fitzgerald robot? Maybe Heather Fitzgerald is a robot. There was another one in that one. I'll get to it. This is a little piece. I wanted to play a clip from you from. All right. Apparently she may or may not make it tonight. I'd love to have her on tonight if she does. This is Chelsea Gabbard. I'm sorry, Chelsea Whitaker. And I think I misspelled her name in the title now, I realize. But this is her playing a Concerto No. 1 in A minor. Totally beautiful. What a talented, and unfortunately, she's better than me at the guitar. And she does all the whoopity stuff on the neck, and she has a folk kind of style. So it's mixed with that vibrato, Joan Baez kind of thing. If you dig that stuff, check her talent out on her channel. I'll put a link here for you. Hopefully she'll join us after Jenn. She had to reschedule some violin students tonight, so we'll give her another chance to come on maybe in the next few days. If Swamp's still here, your ears might have been ringing when you popped in, because I was asking you to co-host with me on Thursday morning, and we could do like a Bryant Gumbel kind of broadcast there. What's up, Willie? All right, so we got that. Let's get to some stuff. But anyway, she's an Idaho 4 creator. She's been doing a terrific series on the, what was the guy, Alex Murdoch or whatever there in North Carolina, and she was very involved in that case, so she's very, very familiar with the cell phone data business. And you really want to, if you get a chance. So I'm really hoping to have her on tonight or the next few days. Let's see this next one here. Get rid of that. And this one is where we're at. Check this out.
Forced entry into the home.
There's also newly released DNA evidence, which shows no DNA from any of the 4 murder victims that was found in Kohberger's home or car.
A new report claims the 2 roommates who survived the massacre were awake and texting each other while their 4 friends were stabbed to death one by one.
As a lion hunts for its prey, we are being hunted by those in control. An innocent wildebeest runs by, only to be caught by the sharp fangs of the lion. Trapped and unable to escape, it faces an inevitable end. This is eerily similar to the situation of an innocent man ensnared in the justice system by mere circumstantial evidence. In both cases, the outcome is driven by the need to catch prey and call it a day, with no regard for the circumstances or the families involved. There is no true justice for the victims. Injustice for one is injustice for all.
And I'm telling you, you will definitely see the positive.
Joe's has to
You will definitely
constantly
get
battle
checks.
the.
I was skeptical
He's
in the
like
beginning
with
too,
J.J.
but
Vance. I'm not the vice president. I'm not Casper West.
There was no a threat, and our goal is to provide safety for this community. That's why we're bringing in the resources we're bringing. We want it close to this, and we want to do everything we can to let the people in our community know that we care. We want them to feel safe. We want them to be safe, and we're going to do everything we can to do that.
Your mind is still open to the potential, of course, that it could have been someone else?
Of course, yep. I go into that 100%, yep, of course.
Knowing that we cannot interfere with the important work and good investigations that are occurring. We just want justice for these victims.
That's despite significant pushback from 2 of the victims' families, but the university believes this will help students to heal and move forward.
While we have relied heavily on the expertise of Moscow police.
You heard the university president as well as the chief of police talk about this small community, and it's a very close, tight-knit community. And our hearts break for the families that lost their loved ones, the University of Idaho, the Moscow community, and even within our entire state. Be assured, the Idaho State Police is firmly in support of the work that the Moscow Police Department is doing, and we are providing every resource that we can to make sure that this comes to a conclusion, and the person or people that this is responsible is brought to justice.
And again, this comes from sourcing close to the investigation, that the first responders who responded to 1122 King Road on that horrible overnight morning incident in November 13th, they were not wearing protective footwear, booties, right? Fast. And for that reason, they tracked snow melting chemicals in from the driveway and parking lot into the home, and thereby potentially disrupted the retrieval of footprint evidence.
While we have relied heavily on the expertise of Moscow police,
The incompetent Moscow police officers failed to handle this case properly. Evidence was contaminated, destroyed, and may have allowed the real criminal to escape justice. Was this intentional or merely an accident? What we do know is that Moscow has never been a truly safe town. The level of corruption within law enforcement in this small town is significant, especially given its relatively small population. Some of the victims' parents don't even believe Kohberger is the true suspect. With no motive and no DNA linking Kohberger to the crime scene, it is becoming increasingly evident that this crime may have been committed by another group of people. But who?
We've been reporting on this upcoming trial, and I feel like every time we talk about it, we say it's happening later, it's happening later. It's been 2 years. I think the trial's still another 8 months away. Mm-hmm. What do you think about all this time that has passed from the time of the crime to the fact that we have not been to trial yet?
I don't have a lot of comments on that. I would say that I feel like the legal system is not about the victims, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
For the course in this business, you just can't have a frantic scene without people making sure lives are saved first, and maybe there is a footprint that isn't perfect or is gone, or maybe there are these melting chemicals that tracked into the house. But they did say they've got one latent footprint that was discovered with a blood sourcing chemical compound.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
We're not actually. I don't
You don't know who lives here?
No, I don't.
We're just here for noise complaints. Yeah, they did.
Beat on the damn door.
Hey, who's the owner or who lives here?
I can go get them real quick.
Okay, thank you, please. Hey, who's the owner or who lives here?
But they did say they've got one latent footprint that was discovered with a blood sourcing chemical compound.
I can go get them real quick.
Okay, thank you, please.
The suspect is hidden in plain sight. Someone with the motive, fueled by envy and jealousy, wearing Van-style shoes and likely collaborating with other people to cause chaos. There are no signs of forced entry, no DNA evidence found in Kohberger's home, yet a knife sheath is conveniently planted on the bed. It's reminiscent of the game Among Us, a survival game where a secret mole's objective is to sabotage and confuse everyone else.
Where did you see this person?
I was asleep, and then I woke up
Okay.
and it was just me and Sadie home at the time, and we both lived down in the basement, and my door was closed. I heard my door open, and I looked over, and someone was wearing a ski mask and had a knife like this.
Oh, okay.
And so I kicked the out of their stomach and screamed super loud, and they flew back into my closet and then ran out my door and up the stairs.
It almost makes me think that somebody was specifically targeting that person. You know what I mean? Like if they went to a specific room and would know how to get into this place.
The woman tells police it was about 3:30 a.m. when a masked intruder entered her bedroom in Pullman, Washington, holding a knife.
Brian Kohberger was named a person of interest in an eerily similar home invasion.
It all centers on a home invasion that was reported to cops in Pullman, Washington in 2021, a year before the notorious University of Idaho slayings. 13 months later, less than 10 miles away, 4 University of Idaho students were found slain in their off-campus house. It's now being revealed that shortly after Kohberger's arrest for quadruple murder, he was named a person of interest in the home invasion. The similarities? In each case, the intruder had a knife, wore a mask, and stayed silent. But there are also differences. Kohberger is 6 foot tall. The home invasion victim told officers the intruder was between 5'3" and 5'5". Police say Kohberger is no longer a person of interest in the earlier break-in.
But we thought we'd still talk about it
and
address it.
Remains unsolved.
The home invasion victim told officers the intruder was between 5'3" and 5'5".
We pretty much take it all. Fridges.
Common sense. You guys, just interrupt Casper's video real quick. When you have a crime that's perfectly executed, apparently, and the perpetrator isn't even identified till weeks later, allegedly, then all of a sudden you have this golden egg. We have this saying in Florida, the free state of Florida here where I'm at. I should put this on. We have a saying here. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. And I hate to bash you guilters down with that one, but it's a bunch of bullshit. So anyway, let's finish up Casper.
Dishwashers, dressers, drawers, couches, mattresses.
Police are investigating reports of a man who tried to force himself into the apartment of a young woman he doesn't know. The victim posted her story on Facebook, and it is getting a lot of attention tonight. So much attention, in fact, that Pullman PD addressed it on its own Facebook page.
Recent events on the Palouse over the last few months have understandably put the Pullman community on edge. And now there's even more concern after someone tried to force their way into a WSU student's apartment Friday night.
Oh my gosh, that's scary because it's like right here where I'm living at.
Selena Salou lives a few doors down from where the incident happened. She learned about the attempted abduction in a group chat. The rest of the community learned about what happened after the victim posted about it online. According to that post, after walking home Friday night, the PhD student noticed a black car parked outside her apartment. She says it was running and the trunk was left open. She got inside the apartment, but when she went to close the door, a man grabbed the door handle and tried forcing himself inside. The post says she had to use her full body weight to close and lock the door. She reported this to police shortly after, and then, out of fear, she left Pullman as soon as she could.
We need the community's help.
Commander Aaron Brashear says officers arrived on scene within minutes and made extra patrols that night, but they did not find the man or the black car. He says the man is described as approximately 5'5" and was seen wearing a green sweatshirt.
He says the man is described as approximately 5'5" and was seen wearing a green sweatshirt.
It is becoming clear that an injustice is unfolding in this case. If they can falsely accuse one man of a crime he didn't commit, it can happen to any of us. But if we stand together and fight back, we will no longer be easy prey to the injustices within the criminal justice system. Like animals in the wild, we are often expected to stay passive, making ourselves easy targets. However, when they fight back, the predator has no choice but to flee. Similarly, by uniting and resisting injustice, we can ensure the truth prevails and justice is served.
Great video. I hope that everybody feels that message he's sending there. Because if you're new to the Purge, hit the subscribe button. We put a video out like this every couple of days. If you like the content, hit that button and hit like and share with your friends. I'm Kane B. I'm your host today, and don't be afraid of the name. Meanie don't bite. Alright, so this is, I keep saying, this is a small little skirmish in the nuclear war that we have, and Trump addressed it in his inaugural speech, whatever you might think of them. Hello, Translucent, Paul C's here, and we got Echoes of Clarity back, P. Fox in the house, Twizzle Sticks is watching, and let me tell you guys, it really is just the tip of the iceberg, and they're talking about reforming the entire justice system. So hopefully that bodes well with you and it works out in the long run. Let's keep our fingers crossed. When we were watching the inauguration the other day, that was one of the things that stood out to me the most, that they mentioned that. And I guess there was, I'll just mention the TikTok thing there real quick. That happened. So everybody was freaking out about TikTok. Let's talk about something totally different if I can get to it here. I think I can. Nope. There you go. Okay, let me pull this window up for y'all here. And let's talk about this young lady here. And there's some interesting correlations with Miss Leah, Dr. Larkin. And this is from DNA Geek. And she is a PhD from the University of Texas at Austin, where she used DNA to study the relationships among different species. She has worked in both academia and scientific publishing and applies those research skills daily to solving genealogical questions using DNA. Her background makes her uniquely qualified to analyze your DNA results to reveal your family history. Leah is amazing to say the least. Now, remember, she is one of the defense experts. So, it's almost like they've brought a gun to a knife fight here if they're not going to use the IGG. If that makes any sense to you, you have somebody that can totally shoot it down. If they don't use the IGG, how do they explain how do they got to Kohberger? How do you arrest him? How do you keep him in jail for 2 years? I don't care what you believe. Get up here. I'll put a link in the chat right now and explain that to me. I am an adoptee that was searching for my biological family for many years. I now know my biological mother, father, and half sister and uncles. These are testimonies of people. And she is definitely outstanding in her field. All right, let's keep rocking on there. That was a great video by him. So we read that guy. Let's get on with it here. And I think Jenn will be up pretty soon here. She was making dinner. Got that out. San Diego. Just a replay of the history of the Purge is always the history of the Purge on the Purge. So we discuss everything I've discussed already. Okay, so this is, I guess, from Heather. And I'm hoping this is from today. Filed 1/21/25 in the District Court of the 4th Judicial District of the State of Idaho. Idaho versus Kohberger. The hearing set for January 23rd and 24th in this matter will proceed as follows. Starting at 9 a.m. on January 23rd, 2025, the court will take up testimony related to defendant's motion. They moved it up an hour and a half, or an hour 45 minutes. They will take up testimony related to the defendant's motion to suppress genetic information, IGG, and defendant's motion for Frank's hearing, insofar as it regards the IGG investigations. As indicated in the court's oral ruling, this portion of the hearing will be closed or sealed. Wait, I need to hold on. What? Starting at... Okay, so they're going to have a preliminary hearing to the 10:45. So I can only assume that the 10:45 will still be broadcast. If Swamp Rose would like to join me on that, I would love to have her. Or we'll just be broadcasting here. Anybody who wants to join me in the chat, I'll probably be checking in with Dickie and Lana and seeing what they got going on. Following the close of this evidence, the court will take up the following matters, which will be live streamed on a feed available to the public, subject to the court's determination to close any portion of that hearing by turning off the live feed as necessary, which I figured. Testimony related to the defendant's remaining motions to suppress, arguments on defendant's motions to suppress, and arguments on the defendant's motion to compel. It is so ordered. Signed by Hitler himself. Okay, so they're going to have an hour and 45 minutes, and they're going to decide, I guess, on the Frank's motion and on the, the IGG. So I don't know what the results of that, I cannot promise you, will be revealed in the video feed, but there is a chance that they will cut out the video feed for portions of the upcoming hearing. That is good. Thank you very much, Miss Heather. I appreciate you. When you say ties to the timestamps, like 50,000 things just rushed through my head right there instantly. Let's see what we got else today here. We got to do the other one. Hold on one moment, please. Here, my computer is lagging. It's slacker. There we go. I think I got it. Thank you for joining the Purge. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. Glad you're here. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. It's nice to see you, Meg P. and Wakinian Tonka Trucks, Miss Johnny Knapp, all up here. Mishy Girls even joined us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Gresham and Joey Agrella. Once again. Oh, wait, I missed somebody I know way back here. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. You guys crushed me with the chat. Kibo's here, and P. Fox. Of course, Meanie Weenie is with us. Thank you for being here, Meanie. All right. I don't know why this thing is taking us so long here. Okay, let's just go over this here real quick.
Welcome to Docket Decoder. If you enjoy our content, please do us a favor and hit that like button, or subscribe so you can stay up to date with the latest court filings. Declaration of Bicka Barlow. I, Bicka Barlow, do state and declare, I am an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of California, and I have been retained to assist counsel for Brian Kohberger in the above matter in the capacity of DNA consultant. I have a BS from the University of California, Berkeley in genetics, and an MS from Cornell University in developmental genetics, with minors in cellular biology and plant molecular biology. I received my JD from the University of San Francisco School of Law. I began consulting on DNA cases as a law student in 1994. In 2004, I was hired as the DNA attorney for the San Francisco Public Defender's Office. During my 9 years at the office, my practice was focused almost completely on DNA cases. In 2013, I left the office and returned to consulting on DNA cases throughout the United States in both state and federal courts and at all stages of litigation. I have acted as DNA counsel or as a consultant on cases involving DNA evidence in over 200 cases, including capital cases, in both trial and post-conviction proceedings. Additionally, I have been retained in 3 cases as a Strickland expert to assess the performance of trial counsel as it related to DNA evidence. As DNA counsel, I have reviewed case files for DNA evidence from many labs throughout California and the United States, including the California Department of Justice, SERI, Forensic Analytical, BODE, Orchid Cellmark, the FBI, the St. Charles, Missouri Police Department Crime Lab, Contra Costa County Police Crime Lab, San Francisco Police Department Crime Lab, Sacramento County District Attorney Crime Lab, Oakland Police Crime Lab, Santa Clara County District Attorney Crime Lab, the Arizona Department of Public Safety Lab, and the Phoenix Police Department Lab. I regularly communicate with attorneys and experts who specialize in DNA evidence. I also regularly train attorneys in the area of DNA evidence. I was requested by counsel in this case to assist in determining the scope of DNA discovery necessary for defending this case, including any genetic genealogy that was used. Part of this assignment was to identify potential expert witness and legal issues that might arise from the use of genetic genealogy in particular. Because I have been retained on other cases involving genetic genealogy, I'm aware of the methods used and the type of material that is and has been made available in criminal cases.
You were the one I missed, Angela Tarkanen. I'm sorry, I did miss you. And Kohler Covered, I did mention you. Make sure you guys check out her channel. She's got good stuff, and I've been checking out a lot of her stuff she keeps putting up. There's another one I'm not mentioning. I'll remember in a second. I had hamburgers tonight, and I got, it's $16 for a dozen donuts at Krispy Kreme now. But I got a dozen of them. I'm working my way through them. So that was dessert tonight. Thanks for asking. Snack update, guys. I'm sorry you're feeling sick still, Meg P. I wish you could beat this thing. Aw, poor Meg P. She takes care of people, and then her kids got her sick. Miss you, girl, also nice to see you. Okay, so, and Miss Johnny Knapp, hello. Are you guys getting a snowstorm up there? Because Rockford said that it was getting pretty cold, so I don't know. There's some parts of the country that are getting it pretty bad. It looks like it's going into Texas, It looks like it's going down. I know that Arkansas woke up to Robert in below freezing temperatures. Hi, Robert, by the way. He's got a new channel. He changed it up, and I'm looking for his thing to link you to it. If one of you guys don't mind linking to Robert's channel in the chat, I would appreciate doing that. And Paul C, good to see you here. All right, let's get on with this.
In order to assist counsel in this and other cases, I have reviewed a multitude of materials, including peer-reviewed articles, magazine and newspaper articles, and motions submitted in other cases. I've also interviewed numerous expert witnesses in order to identify potential areas of interest to the defense. I have reviewed the material provided to the defense in this case regarding the DNA testing done, as well as numerous news articles regarding this case and the government's motion for protective order filed on June 16, 2023. I'm informed and believe via news reports that in this case, Mr. Kohberger was initially identified as a possible suspect via a new methodology called investigative or forensic genetic genealogy, hereafter IgG. Genealogy testing and database searches. I'm familiar with the methods used to conduct IgG searches in criminal cases. I have been retained in other jurisdictions on cases involving this type of search and have received and reviewed reports generated by the private company that conducted both the testing itself and the construction of the family tree that led to the identification of the defendant in those matters. Based on my review of that material, I am informed and believe that the use of these databases does not necessarily lead to a single individual as a potential suspect. The testing conducted by the private lab is different in nature from the testing done by forensic labs. The private labs do not generate a profile in the same way that forensic labs do, and there cannot be direct comparison between the data obtained in this case by the Idaho State Police Crime Lab and the private lab. The ISP lab had conducted what is typically called STR-based testing, which results in a profile that can be uploaded to the state and federal CODIS databases. IgG labs use a different technology where individual SNPs, single nucleotide polymorphisms, are sequenced. The SNP and STR data cannot be directly compared. Once the IgG lab completes its testing, the SNP data is uploaded to a genetic genealogy database that contains similar data from other individuals. One such database is GEDmatch. I'm aware of only one other website that allows law enforcement searches. Most websites, such as 23andMe, do not allow the use of their data by law enforcement and are used by most people for ancestry research. Data is compared within that database and possible relatives are identified. The determination of who is or is not a relative is subjective and based on the length of DNA shared between two individuals. The comparisons in such a database do not yield an identification of someone identical to the uploaded SNP data. Rather, it would identify possible relatives who might be in the database. Once a putative relative has been identified, a family tree is created, working backwards to grandparents and possible great-great-grandparents. The family tree is then built down. The construction of these family trees is highly subjective and is based on the use of public records such as marriage and birth certificates. Difficulties with tracing a family tree may arise when there are events that sever a relationship, such as an out-of-a-wedlock birth, name change, or adoption. In some instances, contacting individuals for further family information, such as noted above. This process leads to a pool of individuals rather than one specific individual. I'm also aware via news reports in the Golden State Killer case that multiple individuals are often identified and must be eliminated in order to find the potential suspect. As described in the Washington Post, the technique leads to a pool of relatives, not to a single individual. The same issue has come up in other cases where more than one individual was identified and subject to investigation. In the episode from the Genetic Detective Show, Who Killed Angie Dodge, at least one relative of the defendant in that case was investigated and ruled out. Further complicating the Dodge case was the fact that the defendant in that case had been born after his parents' divorce and adopted by his stepfather. In addition, there has been a history of misuse of the IgG databases by law enforcement. Abuses by law enforcement of the GEDmatch resulted in users opting out of the use of their DNA by law enforcement. The abuses and protests by users led GED Match to change their database so that users had to opt in for law enforcement use. Another database that allows law enforcement searches, Family Tree DNA, automatically opts users into law enforcement searches. An example of other abuses in this technology, a Florida police officer obtained a warrant for the entire GED Match database,
Florida.
despite users' choice to opt out of law enforcement searches. Recently, the state of Maryland passed a statute regulating the use of IgG searches, requiring court approval at many stages of the process. But IgG has generated concern, not just acclaim. In early 2019, Family Tree DNA faced criticism after the public and site users learned that the company had secretly been working with the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation for nearly a year to conduct IgG searches. GED Match similarly faced reproach after it secretly permitted law enforcement to search its database to investigate a crime outside the scope of the site's stated list of offenses. In response, both sites unilaterally altered their terms of service and privacy policies to explicitly embrace their challenged conduct. But even after those efforts, sites have come under attack for violating their own policies, quietly changing their settings, and even failing to delete material as promised. In some cases, both law enforcement and the genealogists that they have employed have engaged in deceptive practices, tricking family members, surreptitiously gathering genetic material from non-suspect family members, or simply uploading an evidentiary profile to a database that does not allow for law enforcement searches. It's imperative to the defense in this case to know how Mr. Kohberger was identified and who else in his family tree might have been identified as a subject of investigation. While in the Dodge case, another relative was ruled out, it is unknown to the defense in this case whether every lead or possible suspect was further investigated and ruled out by genetic testing. Because the family trees generated by these genealogy searches often identify distant relatives through great or great-great-grandparents, a person may be completely unaware of the relatives in the genetic genealogy searches and unable to conduct an independent investigation of possible third-party suspects. It is not possible for any defendant to investigate family relatives who are unknown to him and may in fact have been in the area of the crime. This material clearly is Brady material in that it would provide investigative leads that are otherwise unavailable for Mr. Kohberger. IgG cases and similarities to CODIS. In my opinion, as an attorney who specializes in DNA cases and who has seen both cold hit cases and IgG cases, the IgG database search results raise the same type of questions and areas of investigation that a cold hit case would.
All right, so I didn't say hi to Love Tina. Hi, Love Tina. And Tamara's here. And we got Heather Fitzgerald's watching. And then I missed one more. Who was it? I'm sorry. Happy Hounds. Happy to see you. Very nice to have you here. And, yeah, so that's the difference. And these two experts they're bringing in for the defense. One's a lawyer, one's a scientist. So that is who they are, what's going on. She definitely has a lot of experience. And, yeah, Jen, just call in whenever you're ready. I think I've got battery on my phone enough to keep you here long enough to get the real guest on. No, just kidding. Let's see here. I got something. I don't know. I can't read. I need glasses. Oh, I've got my handy magnifying glass here. I'm at 98%. Shit. All right, we're good to go. So, yeah, call in, Jen. Call in now. Everybody put Jen in the chat. And I'll keep playing this till she gets here.
First, as noted above, who else was included in the pool of putative relatives in the first instance in the IgG database? Second, once the IgG search was completed, who in the pool of identified putative suspects were ruled out by further investigation? For the defense team, how many others were investigated?
I'm sorry, Rochelle.
And what caused law enforcement to focus on Mr. Kohberger is key to a
Thank
possible investigation and third-party suspects.
My producer.
Third, and in many ways most importantly, how does the search of a large database impact the statistical analysis of the comparison by the state lab using standard STR methods? As with cold hit cases...
All right, there we got Jen. Let's get her on the line. Hello there.
Hola.
How are you? Good. I just our feed cut out there for a second. Okay, we're good. Okay. All right. Yeah. How are you cold up there?
Oh. Yeah, it's freezing.
Is it really? What are you? What's the temp at?
I have no idea.
It's really not even about the temperature. It's about that feels like nowadays. It seems like.
It's 16 degrees. Holy shit.
Wow, that's right. And you got snow on the ground. I'm assuming.
Damn, I didn't realize it was that cold.
You weren't cold until you saw the temperature.
Temp is 9 degrees. Like, that's crazy.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's... Because, honestly, you don't really feel it till you go outside and you get that blast of wind. And then it just rips right through you and you're just cold and toes and you can't get the boots on your dog to go outside to take a leak. You know? So... Anyway, have you been... I don't really... understand. What I picture winter like up north is teenagers just banging all the time. It's just like partying in somebody's big ass basement. I don't know what happens when you're an adult. If that continues, you still have to work, right? Or whatever.
I mean, allegedly is what I heard.
all I can tell you is that anybody from the New England states there can out-party me by a landslide. I tried to keep up with them, and it didn't work out well for me. But
You're an amateur.
I was guilty. I was the only thing that got me through was Tony. Tony helped. So anyway, cool. Well, I'm glad you called in. You could take the time for us. Hey, Phil the Biggs in the house, and What are you said you were looking at something?
Oh no, I had emailed you just an article about these 3 like weird deaths.
Okay.
In Idaho, of course.
Let me block out my emails so Trish doesn't have a heart attack on me here. Email. That was a good thing on Bicka Barlow, though, right? Did you catch some of that?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, sure, Kane, whatever. Uh-huh. Did you just me?
No, I was listening while I was cooking.
What are you making?
I made pork chops.
Hey, I've had pork chops the last couple nights, and I kept forgetting to wrap them in the foil. If you don't wrap the darn pork chop in the foil, it gets too tough, and then you have to like shred it up and put it in a sandwich or something. Yeah, I actually, you guys, that was my confession while you're here, Jen, to everybody today, is that I'm wearing pants for the first time in a couple of years, honestly.
This is the first time that you wore pants on the live stream?
I have clothes on. I usually am wearing shorts. I'm wearing, they're kind of like those, remember those Jimmy Z's, but they tie, and they're like the elastic waistband.
I don't even know what that is.
They're kind of like surfer pants, I guess you'd say. It's more like, I'm wearing them more as like a sweatsuit kind of deal right now than anything else.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, so here we go.
It snowed down there.
It snowed in the Panhandle. I had footage of it, and it was something I was looking for. That's why I was scrambling through everything there real quick. But Paul C says, "Don't stand up." Don't worry, I'm fully dressed. Yeah, that's the problem. I worry with the pork. I don't flip it in time because I just use the toaster oven. Honestly, I'm gonna replace my real oven with a dishwasher so I can finally wash my dishes and just throw them in there like normal people do.
What are you gonna cook in if you don't have an oven?
Well, you use the toaster oven for everything. I mean, it's not like I'm cooking turkeys up in here. If I'm gonna get
I have an air fryer thing, and I use that thing all the time. I love it.
I have that, but I never put the oil in it or anything.
Well, that's the thing. You're not supposed to put oil in the air fryer.
I thought you were supposed to put a little oil in there.
That's the whole point. Is that there's no oil.
No. Well, I don't put it in there.
He needs a wife like ASAP.
I don't put it in there, so I guess I'm all right. Anyway.
Oh my god. It fries without oil. That's the whole spiel,
Do you want to flip for who reads this?
No, you read it.
I'll play the video. Forget
I'll
it.
read halfway. Oh shit! I almost dropped the phone.
There's a video. I'll play the video.
At
Oh, wait.
Coast to Coast
What is
Lighting,
this?
we
Yeah, I think this is
illuminate
it.
your
We gotta wait
world
the
with a
commercial here.
spectrum of
One.
lighting solutions.
There we go. All right.
All right, I'm gonna mute you so I can listen.
The
Do what you
saying,
gotta do.
it was always considered a joke, but the saying was, if you want to commit murder, do it in Shoshone County, you'll get away with it.
The Silver Valley is tranquil, tucked away off of I-90. It's mountains, protectors for the secrets those at its base may be keeping.
I've seen death in a lot of different forms and shapes, but it still gets back to that gut instinct thing of if it looks wrong and feels wrong, it is wrong. My name's Dave Roos. I am a former deputy coroner for Shoshone County. Brianna Cook, Dylan Parker, and Ashley Sullivan were murdered.
It's a conclusion that has consumed Dave Roos for more than 2 years.
I'm Teresa Palin. I'm Brianna Sue Cook's mother. I believe my daughter was murdered.
October 25th, 2013. Brianna was out celebrating her big sister Bethany's birthday. Their mom, Teresa, had turned in for the night.
I was sleeping and I got a phone call.
Teresa raced to the hospital.
The doctor came out and she said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, your daughter didn't make it. I'll get her cleaned up and you can come say goodbye to her."
Teresa's daughter Brianna was dead, hanged in the shower at her father's Pinehurst home.
I was so confused. I remember just thinking it kind of feels like sliding off the edge of the world.
Brianna had spent the evening with Bethany and friends. They had been partying at this home on 2 Mile Road in Osborne. Police reports would show drugs and booze were flowing freely. And while at the party, something seemed to upset Brianna.
She got mad. That's how she was. She'd get mad for a little bit, and then you'd make up with her later. She'd text me and be like, "I love you, sissy."
Jeez.
But this time there would be no text. Brianna took off, and Bethany and friends set out to find her. They dropped her off at her dad's house once they did. Police records show Brianna's father didn't hear any sort of struggle from his daughter. He found her hanging from this extension cord about an hour after she returned home. The autopsy report clearly states she died from asphyxia due to hanging, but it also notes blunt impact to her head. The medical examiner referenced injuries on a finger, leg, and lower lip as well. All indications on the surface here led to teen suicide. But Brianna had a troubling quirk that put a kink in that conclusion.
She did not know how to tie, not even her own shoes. She couldn't get it. She wouldn't have tied it. She couldn't have. It wouldn't be possible.
And it wasn't just the family who noticed some red flags.
I got a phone call from the coroner down in Boise. Lonnie called me and said, "Dave, we have a 19-year-old female suicide in the ER in Kellogg. Can you go check it out?"
The Shoshone County coroner was out of town that Friday night. Then Deputy Coroner Dave Roos knew he'd be called in if something happened.
There was just a feeling in the air that this wasn't right, that we had a dead teenager here. I can't put my finger on what was wrong, other than I knew that there was, or just felt that something is not right here. Her coloration and the coldness, it shocked me. It was a fairly complicated slip knot that had been tied in this extension cord.
Roos also recalled the goose egg on Brianna's forehead. Police documents say she hit the floor as her body was cut down. But that troubled anyone who had ever been in that tiny shower.
If I wanted to commit suicide, I would have to get on my knees. And I'm a short girl.
Why does this girl have this mark right in the center of her forehead like she's been struck with a pipe or a piece of wood, a stick, something?
And there was more.
There was no scene containment. It was just allowed anybody to come in and out.
But perhaps most unsettling to all involved were some of Brianna's final words as she fled this home.
She either saw or heard, or a combination of both, something that extremely upset her. She left that party very angry, very upset. She was heard to say, "F this, I'm not staying quiet any longer. I will not cover for him anymore." And the next thing you know, Brianna is gone.
Still, police found no signs of foul play that night, and Brianna Cook's death was ruled suicide. Brianna would not be the only teen whose death would raise Dave Roos's suspicions.
There's more?
Yes, there's 2 more kids.
I have a hard time believing he got
all connected
up
somehow.
to where.
Well, I mean, just let's talk about that one real quick. The girl couldn't tie her own shoe, yet the extension cord that she used to hang herself was tied with a complicated slip knot.
Exactly.
I mean, I've tried. I mean, if you sit there and try to figure out a knot, and you're an adult or, you know, a teenager or whatever, maybe you could figure it out. I don't know. It doesn't sound like she was suicidal, really, or what?
No, it sounds like something happened. Like there was something that went down and she left abruptly like that. You know what I'm saying? But it gets crazy. Like it's 3 deaths that I think they all came. It was like parties at the same house. Just you'll see if you won't keep watching it.
Well,
but it's crazy, and this just shows you. Like I started looking into the coroner system in Idaho after seeing this video, and there's no oversight. There's no each county kind of does its own thing, and they have a lot of power, and that goes back to all these weird deaths in Moscow. And how easily they could be ruled anything other than a unaliving because of the power that coroner has.
And yeah, the coroner in this case isn't even a doctor in the Idaho 4 case.
Right, exactly.
And so you have in politics you have a lot of corruption. I mean, I'm not saying that there is, but if it walks like a duck. I mean, you know. All right, let's carry it on with this.
He was out on his own.
It was just 78 days after Brianna Cook died that Dylan Parker's mother was driving into Osborne to meet her son.
He had been drinking, and I could tell he was drinking. He had just called and asked for a ride home. We were going to meet at the gas station.
Mona Rupp said the tone of her son's voice was chilling.
It was raised. It sounded panicky. Just, you know, Mom, where are you?
It was January 12th, 2014.
He liked hanging out with his friends.
And those friends were with Dylan at this house. Look familiar? It's the same one Brianna Cook left back in October, 2 hours before she was found dead.
I drove up to the house where he was at. My dad and I drove up 2 miles to the turnaround. I mean, there was snow at the time. I mean, it was clean snow. There was no tracks of any kind.
And no Dylan. Soon after, Dylan's phone was shut off.
I didn't go to bed that night.
It would be 10 more days before Mona Rupp would get confirmation of what her intuition already told her. Her son was dead.
You get in dark places, you know.
This is the gas station where Dylan was supposed to meet his mom. It's about a mile from that house, maybe even less. But despite that short distance, investigators believe Dylan wandered the other way.
And to give you a little bit more perspective here, take a look at this police map. It shows the more than 2 miles between the house Dylan reportedly headed the opposite direction from and the spot where ATV riders discovered his body.
You can see the lights of Osborne. But when you look up the other way, it's just dark. You know, he knew which way he was going. He grew up here, and as any boy, they're in the mountains. They're playing. He knows the outdoors.
Idaho State Police documents say Dylan's autopsy revealed he had alcohol and drugs in his system the night he died. They believe that, combined with the exposure to the elements, is what killed him.
I don't deny that my son died of hypothermia. What I don't understand is how did he get up there? You know, there was no footprints. That day, there was no tire tracks. There was nothing. How did he get up there?
Dylan was also found not wearing pants or boots, and experts are telling me that it's actually common for those experiencing hypothermia to remove clothing. Dylan's body was covered with injuries consistent with him stumbling around these woods. But what has troubled Bruce about Dylan's autopsy is what was not in there.
There are no injuries to the soles of the feet. And this is the boy that was walking out in the woods. I know it's been argued away that a lot of the scratches on his body was because he was staggering around out in the brush and the trees. But yet his socks, the bottoms of his socks were clean and there was no injuries to the bottoms of his feet. Yes, he did freeze to death. Yes, he was inebriated, intoxicated, under the influence of drugs. Yes, I won't dispute any of that. But I do not believe that this boy wandered up that draw all on his own and laid down and died. And I'll go to my grave knowing that in my heart, that that boy did not do that himself.
And this would not be the end of the deaths. 107 days after Dylan was found, there would be one more.
My name is Carrie Rickman. I'm the mother of Ashley Sullivan. I believe that on the night of April 29th, 2014, my daughter was murdered and it was made to look like a suicide.
Ashley was found hanging from a tree located on some property near a home in Kootenai County.
I get a phone call from the coroner and his exact words were, "Dave, there's another one."
The news was shocking, especially because Ashley was an advocate for people who had suicidal thoughts. Like the two teenagers before her, Ashley Sullivan also once attended Kellogg High School.
She was everybody's best friend. She got along well with everyone.
Ashley's mom said her daughter was devastated by the loss of Dylan and Brianna. And there was one more thing.
She said she was scared.
But of what specifically? Her mother still doesn't know. Officers found Ashley with a tow strap rope around her neck.
It's like somebody held her there, put a noose around her neck, or the strap, and then just let go.
The autopsy showed pot was in Ashley's system. What stood out to Bruce immediately about Ashley was an eerily similar wound to Brianna's on her forehead.
It's almost like you could take Brianna Cook and Ashley Sullivan's foreheads and sit them side by side and couldn't tell the difference.
But Bruce says if you look at the autopsy, you will not see that noted. A few weeks after Ashley's body was found, Bruce's career as a deputy coroner was over.
3 weeks later, I went into work and was terminated. And I was told that, well, they had to let me go because they were hiring another licensed mortician. A couple of weeks later, she hired a MRT. Exact same thing I was. So it was pretty clear of why I was let go, as I wouldn't keep quiet.
KHQ has been investigating these deaths for more than a year now. We've poured over police records from multiple agencies. As far as Brianna Cook, documents show Pinehurst Police was the responding agency. Chief Rocky Wilson almost immediately ruled it a suicide, writing, "I am still waiting for the official autopsy report, but I am calling this a suicide, as I have no evidence pointing otherwise." The Idaho State Police took over the investigation into Cook's death. They were also the lead agency for Dylan Parker's case. They didn't go on camera for either investigation, but the findings listed in their reports are clear. They state Dylan died of hypothermia with drugs and alcohol contributing. Their conclusion for Brianna? Her death was hanging by ligature. The report also noted the drugs in her system may have contributed to thoughts of suicide. Kootenai County investigators are handling the Ashley Sullivan case. They told me while the investigation into her death is still active, detectives suspect it was a suicide. They said they are still waiting on some follow-up information before making any official rulings. Ashley's body was found in Kootenai County, but she was transported to Shoshone County, making coroner Lonnie Deuce the responsible party listed on her autopsy report as well.
Now, Deuce did talk to me, but only over the phone. He tells me all 3 deaths were thoroughly investigated, and in his opinion, there were no signs of foul play with any of them.
Is it possible that Brianna did commit suicide and your family just cannot accept that?
No. And actually, to be honest, suicide would be much easier for us.
I mean, that would be so much easier to believe than that somebody did this to her and is covering it up. There's no way.
Dylan's mother has now hired a private investigator, and Brianna's family has a petition for the FBI to get involved. As for Dave Roos,
these kids still haunt me. There's no doubt in my mind there is somebody, probably more than one individual out there that knows something, that knows why Brianna is dead, that knows why Ashley is dead and Dylan is dead. Somebody knows something.
Damn, Jen, that's crazy. So, first of all, you have he's the mortician, and I missed part of that.
He's a coroner. He was a coroner.
And they fired his ass for speaking out that there was something not adding up.
Exactly. There's so many cases of things like this happening. I'm sure across the country as well, but just the ones I've been looking into in Idaho, it's crazy. I just sent you an article with like more. It's most of the deaths talking about in the article I sent you are from Washington, but still, it's like right there, an hour away. It's Spokane, I think.
What do you want me to pull up that article?
Yeah, pull it up.
Okay, let me blank this so Trish doesn't have a heart attack. Here, hold on. All right, go back.
Meaning, yeah, they were all friends and they all went to the same school. The third girl that unalived herself she allegedly was, all torn up and upset about losing the first two. But that's the story we're being told, at least.
Well, it also plays into I don't know if you caught the last couple of lives I've done where I talked about the I'm not toes. Is that something I should look into? It's Joseph Duncan and Shasta Groan.
I feel like I've heard Joseph Duncan, that name before, but I don't know off the top of my head.
But anyway, here in Florida, they've had a bunch of bodies wash up just in Tampa Bay, not even in the Gulf, and they are instantly declared accidental. It's because I don't know.
Oh, they assume they drowned?
Yeah, they didn't. I don't know. We're not getting the reports. But either way, they don't seem to investigate any time that a body washes up on the shores. They're like, oh, it was an accident. It's just instantly declared an accident, and they move on. It's like they don't have to talk about. Do you want me to read this one? The dead don't lie.
Yep.
When the Spokane County Medical Examiner says one thing, and a body seems to say another, families are left searching for answers. Dr. Susan.
Crazy. Like, they literally, there was a body found and cut up in 2 garbage bags, and they labeled it undetermined or something like that. Like, obviously it was a murder.
Are you kidding?
No, paper. It's crazy.
Who's running this country? The mob? I mean, it's like
basically.
Oh no, yeah, it was cut in pieces. That's perfectly natural. That's what happens at 35. Jeez Louise. Her husband has been dead for 10 years, 4 months, and 13 days. But Susan Marshall won't let go. She's still sitting at her kitchen table last week in front of a stack of papers, autopsies, police reports, and her own handwritten notes. Sounds like Heather. More records are stored on her laptop. These reports and photographs document the lives and deaths of at least 10 people who died in eastern Washington and northern Idaho, dating back to 2012. So she got into this because of her husband, and she stumbled upon a bunch of BS, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Marsha believes they all have one thing in common: questionable autopsies. In each case, the Spokane... Am I too loud, Jen?
No, you're good.
You sure?
I mean, to me, I don't know, but I'm on a phone, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah, because you're not listening. I'm turning me down a little bit. I had the microphone, but it wasn't by the speaker of the phone. So now you should be better. I had turned it up for you. Anyway, Yeah, I want to take a little sidebar from this discussion here and talk about grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup. That has to be one of the greatest concoctions ever made, without a doubt. And it's the easiest to make. That's probably how like most people learn how to cook. You do a little grilled cheese, and then when you're a kid, you put like half a stick of butter. I used to put the butter on the inside of the grilled cheese. Let that melt in there. Anyway, you have been proven wrong. Apparently, you are supposed to put oil in the air fryer.
What?
Yeah, I think with air fryers they have a little tray, and you put like a drop or two of oil. The only thing I never use that because I don't have it. I must have a convection oven. It's just a little toaster oven. I don't have like the rotisserie thing that you see on Ron Popeil or whatever. And
I don't think you're supposed to put oil, but I don't know.
I think it's yours. Is yours technically a?
It's an oven. Like it has like a big like doors, like French doors that open up.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's.
The air fryer has a basket for the air fryer.
Huh.
Option, and then it also like roasts and.
I know somebody told me to read the directions, and I'm like, I'm a man. We don't read directions. We just figure it out. But anyway, all right. Just a sidebar there. This is crazy. So this all started when Marshall's husband John disappeared. Dr. John Marshall, chief of surgery at Man Grandstaff Veterans Affairs Medical Center, went missing on January 25th, 2016 during an early morning jog. His body was found floating, there you go, in the Spokane River the next day. And the Spokane medical examiner, John Howard, ruled that John Marshall had drowned and that it was an accident. Susan Marshall, a surgeon herself, disagrees. After reviewing the autopsy and photos of her husband's stiff body, she believes he was severely beaten and dumped in the river. The Spokane police detective investigating his death is also confounded. He writes in his report that John Marshall's body does not look like others that were dragged over the muddy rocks in the river. I don't know about that. The severe bone fracture in his chest and internal bleeding indicate a takedown move, Suzanne Marshall says. His iPod, which was still in his pocket when police pulled him from the river, showed no evidence of water damage. So he had an iPod in his pocket, but he drowned without getting it wet.
Right. Like he was obviously placed there.
Help, help! My mouth is in the water. I can't turn my head. Holy Lord. I mean...
This story gets crazy. Like, this article, it's older, and if you look up the update on this lady's husband, he was allegedly having an affair, and the lady is having an affair with her husband, had shot and killed her, like, a few weeks before they found him dead. It's like this whole thing, but keep going. All
right. Suzanne Marshall has thrown her energy into a hunch. Let me check my audio. I look good. Okay. I'm looking good, baby. That her husband's case wasn't the first. So far, she's looked into several other cases with rulings by Spokane County's forensic pathologists Howard and Sally Aiken that say she says are ludicrous. Interesting. Among them is a woman whose body was cut in half and disposed in black plastic bags. Howard ruled the case and manner of death as undetermined.
Like, what the fuck, right?
Well, at least we know what happened after they died, right? I mean, you have to at least admit there was probably some foul play because you can't. There's a law in Idaho now that you can't eat people, and so maybe they need to make a law that if a body is found sawed in half, that it wasn't done by the person that did themselves in. Holy crap! I mean,
Toe said he was my dad's doctor at the VA.
Well, I couldn't hear you.
No, Toe said he was my dad's doctor at the VA. You mean the husband or the wife? Which Marshall? They were both doctors.
They were both. She was a surgeon. That is okay. So I'll read on. Well, that's the thing, Jen, is that every single aspect of judicial and law enforcement, it's like they just toss common sense out the window. And to hell with the families, to hell with the victims, and it's amazing because the first thing that they say that they're worried about is the safety of its community. And then when something terrible like this happens and they cut somebody in half, the cause and manner of death is undetermined. Okay, I get that. But are we investigating for foul play? Because when they leave it undetermined like that, it does seem like they leave themselves the open window not to investigate, right? Because it's not necessarily a homicide. We just couldn't determine how they died. So let's move on to the next case. And
that's how Moscow keeps their, their yearly reports about crime so, squeaky clean, because nothing gets reported correctly if not reported at all,
Yeah, that way they have the option in their literature to say that it's the safest place to go to school.
Right. Like, someone, they found, poor, students in rivers and falling out windows and this and that, and they victim blame basically. And, they were under the influence. It was, suicide, it was accident. Like, come on, let's be real.
And the tactic that they use over and over is to say that it was because the student was drunk or whatever, that they jumped off the balcony or fell in the river.
Victim blame, basically.
I mean, over and over and over and over and over. There's no end to it. And I'm surprised they didn't say that in Idaho 4, that they all fell on a knife.
Right? I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, at this point, I'm waiting for that to come out. Maybe that's the big evidence that Jeff H. is holding out for. That's going to be the big bang that comes out for Pavarotti. They all fell on the knife. It wasn't Brian. It wasn't Kopaka. It was the knife itself that killed him. I don't know. All right,
not even a knife. The sheath. The sheath did it. Like, we didn't even know that a K-bar was the murder weapon. I mean, let's be real, because the coroner came out and said that it was either two very similar weapons, if not the same weapon. So she couldn't even say what type. So that's a whole other discussion.
Pete Fox said the accident was they washed to shore.
That was the accident.
Oh, hey, Mommy Ball, how are you today? Very nice to see you today. The accident was they washed to shore. I don't even think I can stop laughing from that right now. Oh, P Fox, you could have an OnlyFans comedy channel. Me and Rockford are going to do OnlyFans info channel and flip it on its ear. Boy, you guys should hear the wind and the rain out here right now. It is, I'm sure it's much less than what you guys are dealing with. But do you have a blizzard going through right now, Jen?
No.
No? Okay.
It's cold.
Just cold. That sucks. I want to play the translucent video.
Are you gonna keep reading?
Can you? You don't have to yell.
Damn it.
You want to take over reading?
No, you can keep going.
Everybody likes your voice though so much.
No.
Okay.
I'll read the second half. You're not even like 2 seconds in. Keep going.
Where was I? Okay, so ludicrous, blah blah blah. Okay, so then there's the woman whose body was found wrapped in a sheet of plastic, bound with duct tape, and dumped on the side of the road near Cataldo, Idaho. Oh, I think that's where I went when I was in Idaho, Cataldo. It was a small town. Howard, who performed the autopsy, says the woman died of a heart attack.
Natural causes.
I mean, maybe she did die of a heart attack. and then
a heart attack because someone's trying to kill her. I mean, come on, it's like that's why you had a heart attack.
Well, maybe she had to wrap herself in plastic because she didn't want. She was a neat freak.
How considerate.
Lord have. This is great, Jen. Wow. Again, boom from Jen at Criminal Confidential. Somebody please put the link in there. Let's see. Okay, so wait. She was wrapped in a sheet of plastic and bound with duct tape and dumped on the side of the road. And Howard, who performed the autopsy, says the woman died of a heart attack. The Kootenai County Deputy Coroner then ruled the manner of death natural cause.
Like, you gotta be kidding me, right?
I mean, if we're outsiders, Jen, so none of these techniques would work for us. But I tell you, if you're from Idaho, we have the How to Run with Scissors playbook for you right here on the Purge. If you want to get away with murder, I can tell you exactly what to do. Jiminy Joseph. Allegedly. The medical examiner's decision on cause... I mean, hold on. I'm just going to put those two sentences together real quick. Then there's the woman whose body was found wrapped in a sheet of plastic, bound with duct tape, and dumped onto the side of the road. The coroner then ruled the manner of death natural causes.
You gotta be kidding me.
I mean, dude, what in the... Mrs. Johnny Knapp says plastic wrap BK shower curtain. Oh, I've been living in my own private Idaho.
It's funny, we're laughing, but it's really not.
Oh, it's not funny at all. I mean,
you don't get justice.
Jen, at this point, we're all slap happy from this case.
Yeah.
You know, nothing in Idaho can surprise us. And when I say it's a small fight in the bigger justice system, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say any other state is as weird as Idaho with this kind of stuff out there. This is absolutely outrageous. Okay, so maybe he did do a autopsy on her and determined it was a heart attack that caused her death. But then they leave it as natural.
Why did she have a heart attack? Because someone was trying to kill her? Like,
or somebody was sawing her in half, perhaps. But the thing is, yeah, maybe she died of a heart attack. But then, who wrapped her up in the plastic? Why do you just leave the death as natural causes and not investigate? And no DNA taken, no investigation done, and statistics remain sparkling clear for Idaho.
Right. And this is where, you know, this is the medical examiner from Spokane where they sent the Idaho 4 to be autopsied.
This is the same one?
Same place. This guy Howard is I guess he retired, I think maybe a year or two ago, but they ended up hiring a new medical examiner, Veena Singh, and they did a review from like this case and a bunch of others, and they stood by their findings, as crazy as that sounds.
Wow.
So these families have no legal recourse because how can you press charges on a natural causes death? You know, it's holding up like, you know, life insurance policies. It's so bad. It's so messed up.
Wow, that is really thick. A Lockheed engineering and children's book author. Their neighbors probably thought they were decent people. Goes to show you, never know what's going on inside walls. That's why I was saying, Meanie, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall today in that courtroom hearing. Because look, Jen, with those people that are involved, Bill knows Ann knows Bill. I'm sure they're getting very familiar with Hitler, or they already are, right? Because she defends across the state. She's not just limited to Moscow, and so they know everything, all of them. So how is this case literally discussed by the inside play? I mean, if you could catch 5 minutes of that conversation, talk about wrapping up in a nice, neat little ball. right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we would certainly get an earful on that. All right. That is unreal. Unreal. Best stuff you brought, and it gets better every time, Jen. I tell you, you really age nicely. You're doing good. I wish Brian's Ramblings was here, or it's Brian Ramblings now. He's changed his name, but he did pop into one of the chats. I do miss him. I hope he's doing all right. He said he was having some kind of problems. All right, so I'll read on. The medical examiner's decision on cause and manner. Let me turn this down. Of death is critical for law enforcement, says Spokane Police Captain Brad Arleth. Now, is that the one that got taken out for domestic violence? Is Arleth? When was this article?
No, what do you mean domestic? You're thinking about Pullman.
Oh, it's Spokane, right.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Okay, so I'm trying to, sorry. Kane,
Yeah,
you're an
the
idiot.
connection is that, like I said, it's this, Spokane is where they sent the Idaho 4 to be autopsied because they only have, I think, medical examiners or forensic pathologists in Idaho in Ada County and I forgot the other county. But Ada is, I think, like 5 hours away and Spokane's like an hour and a half, so. But real quick, so looking at like the Idaho statutes, the statute says that the person doing the autopsy has to be licensed, medically licensed in Idaho. So I thought that was weird, but then I thought maybe the Spokane medical examiners are. Can you be dual licensed, like in Idaho and Washington? I guess you can, right?
Well, I know that the police have dual authority that they can cross the line because so much crime does.
Okay.
So
yeah, it's probably. I think you can be medically.
Yeah, those communities are very intertwined, very much
Yeah,
so.
because at first I was like, wait, why would they send it to Spokane? Like, is there, is there someone there that's, on their side? But then I looked into it and I was just conspiracy theorying for a minute.
Well, it's not such a far stretch from what we know, is it, Jen?
No, it's not. I was reading some percentages into how often coroners order autopsies because it's up to them. And there's no oversight for the whole state, 44 counties and 44 different ways of doing it. And it was something like, I think, 92% of homicides are autopsied in Idaho when, like, the national, like, the recommended average is, like, 96, I think, something like that. And they're basically the lowest in the whole country for autopsies, like, the amount of autopsies done. They're archaic when it comes to their system.
It's almost barbaric, actually.
It really is. It really is. They don't even have to. There's no law saying that they have to go to the scene. They can just take the cop's word for it and look at some crime scene photos and make their decision. Like, it's insane.
Well,
they're not even medically. They don't even have to be medically trained. Like, that's what's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they put it right out there in front of us once again when they, the first thing that they tell you in any press conference is what a safe place Idaho is to be. And so
yeah,
with
on
these
paper, it's safe. On paper.
with these autopsies, there does seem to be an agenda that would fit into the agenda. I can't say for that 100% that it's true because I don't know shit, just like this spot says. But I can tell you that I when I see something, I can tell you what it is.
Yeah, I'm reading from this document from some research they did in the state for, the whatever council, whoever changes the law. What are they called? Congressman, whatever.
Legislator.
Is saying 49% of child deaths from external unknown causes were autopsied during 2018 to 2022. It's the lowest in the nation. The national rate is 79%. So Idaho is only 49%. This is
what's the national average?
Can you imagine something happens to your baby and you don't even know why because they're like, oh, it was just SIDS, no big deal. The
what was
coroners
the?
have a lot of power, and their decisions on deaths can really make a huge impact, across the board.
Well, also, Jen, factor in the guy that tried to speak his mind and got fired.
Right, just like the dean of students. Remember I showed you, we talked about that guy that was on the job for like 3 months, and he was trying to basically hold some frat accountable.
Right.
And he just quit. Like anybody, it seems like anybody who speaks out gets kiboshed. They're gone.
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's so right there out in front of us, in our faces.
Yeah.
And they do it over and over again. And even with Mabbitt, that sort of explains that scared expression that she had after they put the after she did her second interview. In her second interview, she looked like she had her tail torn between her legs.
Yeah.
Agreed. And are you want to take over here?
Sure. Where are you?
I'm right below the 2 ads, Solinex and Inlander.
All right, hold on. Let me. Oh wait, hold on. I don't have the freaking article pulled up, so you're gonna have to scroll.
Okay, I'll keep reading.
Hold on, no, I'll pull it up. Keep reading. I'm gonna pull it up real quick.
Yep. Neither of Spokane's 2 medical examiners, Aiken or Howard, agreed to be interviewed by the Inlander. Surprise! But Aiken did respond to questions via email. The medical examiners, let me turn this down. The medical examiners make decisions independent of law enforcement. I mean, it's obviously not like we see it on TV with Bones and all these shows, right? The prosecution or the defense, Aiken writes, the system is designed with a separation of responsibilities. Law enforcement and the prosecutor will determine what weight they want to afford the medical examiner's cause and manner of death in performing their own statutory responsibilities. Meanwhile, Marshall has submitted a complaint against Howard and Aiken to, again, Marshall was the lady whose husband drowned in the creek without getting his iPod wet. Right. She is seeking a complaint against these coroners to the Washington State Department of Health. Who do you think they're going to protect, Jen?
Themselves.
Citing their work on her husband's case and at least 3 others. Health Department spokesman David Johnson confirms that Howard and Aiken are currently under investigation and, depending on the findings, could face suspension and revocation of their licenses. About 10 complaints against 2 pathologists have been filed so far. Did you find the article?
No, I'm looking for it right now.
Sure, take your time.
No, because I sent it to you from my phone.
In all these cases, the whole story is in the body, Marshall says. The surgeon, Marshall. The only body that doesn't lie is the dead one. One of the cases.
The article. What's the title again? Tell me real quick.
It's your mom. Inlander, the dead don't lie.
Okay.
Where was I? One of the cases that Marshall believes has been misclassified is the death of Cindy Lou Zeppenfeld, the woman whose body was found on the side of the road bound with duct tape. Despite her also being wrapped in plastic, she was ruled natural causes. All right, I left off at defensive wounds. Are you ready?
All right, yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. To Heather Oxby, it's obvious that her mother was murdered. It's now been nearly a year and a half since the 46-year-old Spokane Valley woman's body was found near Cataldo, Idaho, and no arrests have been made. The more time passes, the more Oxby worries that the person she believes is responsible will escape justice. On January 5th, 2016, Cindy Lou Zeppenfield Bergen, that's some name, a tough Harley-riding grandma, filed for a protection order against her longtime boyfriend, who had recently been released from jail. He had previously been arrested for domestic assault, and court records show he had a history of domestic violence between the couple. I am fearful of more harm as he's getting madder by the day, Bergen writes in the protection order application. I feel I can't sleep at night because I don't know what he might do to me and my things. Otsby believes that January 6th was the last time her mother was seen in public. She helped rally friends and family into a search party that scoured Bergen's typical hangouts for weeks. On January 18th, Otsby reported her mother's disappearance to the police, who were unable to locate her. Then on January 23rd, hunters found Bergen's body wrapped in plastic. Initially, detectives in Spokane and Kootenai counties investigated the death, but when Howard determined that Bergen died of a heart attack, the Spokane County Sheriff's Office closed its case. Ain't that a bitch? Our detectives did investigate and also worked with the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office and attended the autopsy of Mrs. Bergen, says Deputy Mark Gregory, the Sheriff's Office spokesman. Considering all the information, our detectives concluded Mrs. Bergen's death was not a result of a criminal act, and our investigation was closed. If that was my mother, I would burn the whole town down. Like, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh my goodness! If it was anybody,
everyone's getting lit on fire. Detective Dennis Steinbow confirms the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office is still investigating the case, but would not elaborate, citing the active investigation. So Spokane closed it, and then Kootenai still has it open. Like, what? Is that what I just read? Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and okay, let's say that these medical examiners lose their medical license, right? What if they were just doing their thing to appease their higher-ups? And so,
that's what I think happened.
In the end, the true culprit doesn't get the blame. It's like the pawns in chess. You know, they get taken down while the actual bad people continue on and fire people for speaking out.
Exactly. So, for Otsby, the blame... Is that where I left off? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. For Otsby, the blame lies squarely at the feet of Howard, who performed the autopsy. Howard ruled that Bergen died of a heart attack. Oh, I already read that part. You're just resigned to what the medical professional is telling you, she says. And then she read the autopsy report. It was glaringly different than what they told me over the phone, Otsby said. There are clearly defensive wounds. Howard's report documents that several dozen cuts and bruises covering Bergen's arms, legs, torso, and head. Susan Marshall, who has reviewed Howard's report on Bergen, says the pinpoint bruises inside her eyes indicated that Bergen died of asphyxiation. Howard also listed alcohol intoxication as a finding in his case summary, but Bergen's toxicology report was unable to calculate her blood alcohol level. At the very least, it would have to be homicidal violence that made her heart stop, Otsby said. My mom was a fighter, a tough girl. I thought the only way he could have gotten to her and been successful is if he would have had to prevent her from fighting back. So she's suggesting that it was the mother's boyfriend that she just went to get order protection against. Otsby says that she has tried to speak with the medical examiner in Spokane County, but was told to take her concerns to the elected coroner in Kootenai County, which has jurisdiction over Bergen's death. The medical examiner in Spokane County was only contracted to perform the autopsy. Spokane County's appointed medical examiners conduct autopsies for at least 11 counties in eastern Washington and north Idaho. Some counties have elected coroners who aren't required to have a background in medicine. While they sign off on the manner of death, they pay forensic pathologists to figure out the cause of death. Lynette Acevedo, Kootenai County's chief deputy coroner, confirms that her office did not consider either the location or the condition of Bergen's body in determining that she died of natural causes. We have to go by what's presented to us factually with the medical data from the medical examiner's office, Acevedo says, adding that she's always willing to amend that determination if the police come up with new evidence. Side note, did you know that they can only amend that decision once? So that's why they're very, hard-pressed to make changes once they determine manner of death. Did you guys know that? Anyway, we have to go by...
Well, it's interesting because somebody mentioned that in Kaylee's report, she wasn't classified as dead on arrival.
Really? Well, how would anybody know that, though?
It was back in the chat, way back there. If I thought it was Translucent that had said that.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, there's no way any of us have access to that, so.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
I mean, maybe, but, I mean, we can speculate anything in that case, you know?
But, I mean, this is...
motivated and they're hiding it, like, who knows?
Yeah, no, this is such an extreme amount of ridiculousness.
Basically.
That I mean, it's literally, it's like slapstick. You couldn't write something this corrupt. And it's the same people that did the investigation for the Idaho 4.
Right. They have a lot of power.
I mean, dude, when you want to talk about a boom, and none of us came in here with medical examiner degrees trying to figure out if the medical, you know what I mean? It's not like we're learning along the way. And this is such a great one. Go on, Jen.
Still, Ospey is adamant that rulings on the cause and manner of her mother's death would prevent police and prosecutors from bringing charges. She's not alone. Okay, so they can't bring up charges if it was ruled natural causes or whatever. So she's kind of stuck getting justice for her mother, and that sucks. Other families wonder if the medical examiner's decisions could have prevented the assault and rape of one woman after the gruesome death of another. So that picture is Brenda Thurman and her husband, Dwayne. Brenda's children had filed a wrongful death lawsuit, but Dwayne Thurman has not been charged with any crime. Fast forward, he did get charged. He did kill her. Oh, shit. Hold on. Sorry. Okay. In mid-May 2012, 3 young boys came across Kayla Williams' body in the woods near railroad tracks.
That's nice.
West of where Highway I-195 meets the interstate. Her brother had reported her missing in early April, but at that point, it had already been a few weeks since anyone had heard from her. Her body had been cut in half, put in black garbage bags. Inside one of the garbage bags, her lower half had been wrapped in a plaid sleeping bag. About a month after performing an autopsy in the 20-year-old's remains, Dr. Howard's written opinion was that the circumstances surrounding Williams' death weren't clear, and until more information became available for the purposes of a death certificate, the cause and manner of her death were undetermined. Howard pointed out in the investigation that methamphetamine was present in her system, and in media reports following up on the case, police mentioned that living that lifestyle, quote unquote, can put people more at risk, more victim blaming.
Oh my!
What?
If there's drugs involved at all, then automatically it's the victim's fault.
Exactly. To family members who helped raise Kayla, pointing to her drug use was a slap in the face. To be quite honest with you, regardless of your lifestyle, whether you end up in a dumpster down Hooker Alley, you still deserve justice, in my opinion, said Julie Beauchesne, Kayla's cousin, who adds that she helped care for her while she grew up in an unstable situation. To Beauchesne, the fact that Kayla was cut in half and had defensive wounds means she must have been killed, obviously. I mean, undetermined, she asks? He should have just left it as suspicious death. Undetermined just makes you want to vomit. Howard's rationale, the spokesman review reported, was that he couldn't rule out that she died of an overdose and then someone had disposed of her body. I mean, I guess.
You don't have to be a rocket surgeon to figure that one out.
Like, come on. But other evidence with her body led another forensic pathologist to determine that Kayla may have been sexually assaulted and then killed. Dr. Carl Weigren, a Seattle-based forensic pathologist who Spokane police hired to review the autopsy and provide a second opinion, says in a December 2013 report that several things make it likely that Kayla's death was a homicide. The fact that her body had been dumped, obviously, that it had been cut in two, obviously, that branches and debris had been put over the bags, obviously. She also had a towel knotted around her neck, stab wounds in places that could show she was defending herself, and her clothes, including her bra and underwear, were cut open, the report states. Based on my review of the autopsy report, scene photographs, autopsy photographs, and visitation of the scene, the cause of death is consistent with homicidal violence and the manner is homicide, Weigern wrote in his conclusion. The death of a previously healthy young woman with subsequent processing of her remains and disposal in a remote site is a homicide until proven otherwise. Exactly. DNA found on clothing and tape in the bags came back as a match for Robert G. Davis, according to a police report. When police interviewed Davis in July 2012, he said he knew Kayla a little through her boyfriend, and he had never had sex with her, according to a police timeline. The same month, detectives interviewed Davis's mom, Sherry Cook, but she said little at first. A few weeks later, she called detectives and went in to tell them about her son's possible involvement with another woman's case, Heather Higgins, who'd been missing since 2010. Cook told detectives that Davis had come to her house around the time Higgins was reported missing, saying he had, quote, done something really bad, end quote, and later explaining that although he hadn't killed Higgins, he had helped put her body in a sleeping bag and dump it off a road on the way to a ski resort in the north, according to a police report. When he told me about Heather, he was acting very strange and was on drugs, and I didn't know if it was real or just something in his head, Cook tells the Inlander. But after Kayla Williams' body was found and detectives suspected there might be a link to Davis, Cook said it crossed her mind that maybe her son had done more than just dispose of a body. Like, done more? Like, I left it just like, maybe, you know.
Oh, just that. You know.
No big deal. He just disposed of one.
That's a family weekend.
Idaho math. And that regardless of who was responsible, there could be a pattern emerging. In June 2014, Davis attacked a woman in Coeur d'Alene, choking her until she passed out and sexually assaulting her. He was found guilty, so this is that woman's son. He was found guilty of burglary and battery with the intent to commit rape. He's sentenced to serve another 12 years in a Boise prison, but could be eligible for parole as of June 2019, according to Idaho Department of Correction. Cook says she wants to see her son charged so his innocence or guilt can be determined by the courts. If he's not charged with homicide, he'll never go to court and never have the chance to prove himself innocent if he is innocent. He doesn't have to prove himself innocent, lady. It just sort of hangs there for our family and the other families. We won't know the facts and won't know the truth unless it goes to court. It must go to court. Davis has not been charged in relation to either Higgins' disappearance or Williams' death. He did not respond to requests for comment from the Inlander. Higgins' body has not been found, and when Cook, prompted by detectives, tried to ask Davis during a jail visit about where her body might be, Cook said he denied ever saying anything about that and shouted at her. The facial expressions, the way he acted, his posture, etc., was not the son I once knew, Cook says. He was like a different person. It was scary. And that was the last time they spoke. Cook says, while Davis is behind bars, the focus should remain on investigating cases overseen by the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office. She worries that other cases could have been stalled or gone unsolved. If Robert is guilty, if Robert did this, could he have been stopped sooner, she wonders. Are there other bodies on him that this medical examiner has marked down undetermined because the person was a street person or someone who did drugs? Dr. Judy Melinek, a board-certified forensic pathologist and co-author of Working Stiff, a book about forensic training, says that the medical examiner's ruling can loom large over a case, but prosecutors can still choose to pursue charges. Blaming the medical examiner for the death certification is one way a district attorney can avoid having to try a high-profile, difficult case without enough evidence, Melinek writes in an email to the Inlander. Spokane Police Chief Craig Meidel says his department is, in fact, seeking homicide charges on Williams' death. The decision ultimately rests with the prosecutor whether they want to file charges or not, Meidel says. In talking with the prosecutor, charges may be pending. I wonder if they ever did.
I would be going mental.
Yeah.
If I was one of these families that this had happened.
You're literally at a standstill. You can't, there's nothing you can do. It's such a helpless feeling. I feel so bad. I hope that this is an old article. I hope that things got better.
Well, that's their winning strategy. They leave everybody helpless with no explanation, and if we gave you information, it might tip off the suspect after he's arrested.
We're gonna tell everybody that we saw his car. Like, come on, that doesn't.
I mean, how do you literally explain to me? Anybody, get up on this chat right now, and I'll put a link. Explain to me how you're gonna tip off a suspect that's already in custody.
Right.
How is that even possible? And you missed what I was doing there. You had Rochelle asked, "Is there something in the water?" And then P. Fox said, "Rochelle, most likely bodies." Yeah, I was gonna say there's bodies in the freaking water in Idaho. Oh my good! I mean, get real, dude. Get real. And then you have this clearly a bent on hell bent on destruction prosecutor that's not going to look at basic facts and find legal means to protect the either shitty or corrupt work that they've done in this case. And they've got it.
Listen, they're going to die on that hill. They can't go back now. They're never going to.
They'll never, ever.
That'll never happen.
And if they do, they'll blame the people that are retired. But it just this really goes to show you, Jen, again, the stacks of levels of protection that they have for each other there are impenetrable. It seems. I mean, I really hope that since we have Ann Taylor as an insider here, that we have a chance to defeat this. Because I keep saying that law schools are going to study this case and be like, why the hell did they proceed with this? It's going to be they're going to come across the first motions to compel and be like, why didn't they just let him go right there?
At the very least, even if he did the crime, he still should not have been arrested based on that PCA, period. Like, there just isn't enough. So the problem is they can never prosecute anyone else after this, so it's like they've got to just die on that hill. Let's do some Idaho math, Jen. The PCA, according to Bill Thompson, is irrelevant. Correct? Well, yeah.
Secondly, the IGG is not going to be used. Right?
Right, so, okay, what else?
So what the blankety blank do they have to keep him in there or to get him in there? How did they get him in there? How did they get it by marshal? Here's my answer to that question that everybody asks. How did they get this by marshal? They didn't get it by marshal.
Honestly.
Marshal pushed it through.
100%.
There's no other way it would have worked. Any reasonable judge would have shut it down and said, wait, this doesn't make any sense. I can't just stamp this on. They wanted somebody in there so bad that they were willing to just break the law. Literally, there's no other way to put it. And look at how
done before the new semester started.
Oh God, yeah, that's a whole nother thing. It's always got to be, oh well, they're gone for the vacation. We can't get a hold of them now. Okay, so did you see earlier, I don't know if you were cooking or whatever, but I was showing Miss Potts' post. I think I still have it right here, maybe. Anyway,
I missed that part.
It was talking about two witnesses that are going to be attend this trial on the 23rd via Zoom. It was either the one today or the one coming up on Thursday that they will be...
Why via Zoom, do you think?
Because they're out of state. They've been subpoenaed, but once again, they're not coming back to the state to testify. They're doing it over a Zoom instead.
So who are they scared of?
Well, who were the witnesses, would you guess? Two witnesses. How many witnesses were there? There was two, right? I mean, technically.
Yeah, but who knows? There might be more. Like,
don't you think they might have slipped that out before the gag order? I mean,
I don't know. No, because whoever is being covered for, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, who are they covering for?
If there was more people, witness can be. It doesn't mean they actually witnessed. I mean, it could be someone that just is a witness that knows something, right? I don't know.
Well, yeah, you're right. Like,
it doesn't have to be like someone that's visually saw it. There's other kinds of witnesses.
It definitely adds up out of state to, but the other thing is shit. I forgot what I was to say. I don't know. It really bothers me that once again that they're probably Oh, what I was going to say is I'm worried that part of the hearing will be redacted or whatever. They won't show because
I'm sure it's going to be. I'm sure.
Yeah, in the document it said that they will have the hearing is actually going to start at 9 a.m. and they're going to have the redacted stuff there where they talk about the Franks motion and they talk about the motion to compel. And so at 10:45 is when they start the live stream. So I don't know if the results of the Frank motion will be released at that time or not, if we'll even find out then or not. I don't know when the next hearing is after that or whatever, but it looks like once again they're using this hearing as a delay tactic. And I hate to use that phrase because you hear the guilters say it about Ann Taylor all the time. But it's like, okay, if you're going to look at the Franks motion, look at the Franks motion, get it over with, you're going to take it or you're going to leave it. Now, one of the arguments that Bill Thompson had is right here, and I'll read it again, anybody that missed it, and Jen might have missed it. The hearing set for January 23rd and 24th in this matter will proceed as follows. Starting at 9 a.m. on the 23rd, the court will take up testimony related to defendant's motion to suppress the IGG and defendant's motion for a Franks hearing insofar as it regards the IGG investigation. As indicated in the court's oral ruling, this portion of the hearing will be sealed and closed. Following the close of this evidence, the court will take up the following matters, which will be live streamed on a feed available to the public, and on the court's determination, the live feed will be cut. And these three things are testimony related to the defendant's remaining motions to suppress, arguments on defendant's motion to suppress, and arguments on the defendant's motion to compel. So any of those at any time, they can interrupt the stream. I'm assuming it's going to take all day to get through all these things. Do you think there will be any experts on Thursday?
Yeah, I guess.
I'm wondering if they're going to call up the experts for this or not. But oh man,
it's crazy that they have to hide things. Like why?
So many things, and it's like, look, if you're going to do it and get it over with and shut it down. At this point, it's got to get shut down. And the levels of cover up and lying. You're welcome, Happy Hounds. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And from what it sounded like from the article, let me see if I can find it again. The arguments that Bill Thompson presented is that since they're not using the IGG, then his rights weren't violated. That it's a new technique in law enforcement and it's welcome to be used. So it didn't violate. And then the other one was with as far as suppressing the IGG. So they're not really. It doesn't sound there. This hearing. It seems like it's focusing on the DNA, and it's focusing on the motion to suppress. So it doesn't seem like it's focusing on the cell phone data at all. It's gotten away from that. So that's another hearing, I guess, down the road.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else you wanted to get into tonight?
Not really. I sent you. Someone was talking about cannibalism in the chat, and I sent an article if you wanted to look at that real quick. But other than that, no. I wasn't able to get into CapCut because of this stupid TikTok ban, so I'm so behind on editing.
Yeah, I don't know. I use the open source editing stuff. Although they got some cool little transitions and stuff and like that in CapCut. It's
just easy to use. I'm so used to it now.
It is. Okay, let me... Why isn't my mail opening? There it is. Okay. You sent it to my inbox here?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did.
Plan is renewed. Oh, do you know what email you sent it to?
I've been sending it to both.
I know, you're confusing me. Oh, I'm opening it right now here. Okay. Okay, so you got The Dead Don't Lie, Q6 Vault, Where the Truth Investigating Silver Valley Teen's Death.
No, we did that already. Maybe I didn't send it to you. I think I put it in chat, maybe? Oh, hold on.
Maybe you did.
Maybe I put it in chat. Maybe.
Oh, it looks like Rockford sent something, though, here. Let's see. This might be the next show, maybe.
Hold on. Crap.
Hold on, wait. Let's see what this is. This is good.
Oh, it says it's too long.
It's too long. Well, we can pick it up next time on that one.
That's what she said.
You forgot to put the D in it.
Hold on.
DNA.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, here we go. Listen to this.
Do we all have DNA, or do some of us have D or A, but not both?
No, it's not D and A. It's 3 letters, DNA.
Have you heard of DNA?
Yes.
Do we all have DNA, or do some of us have D or A, but not both?
No, it's not D.
Rockford sent me that. That's absolutely hilarious. Yeah, that was a great article, Jen. You can thank Jen. Like I said, I'm just a pretty face here. Jen's the brains behind the whole outfit. So, yeah, I think I'm going to shut it down there, Jen, on that. Thank you so much for bringing that to us. My goodness. You blow my mind every time. And I'm glad you get a chance to express your opinion on here. I know and every single person in here, thank you so much, because I know every single person has given up something in their life for this case, whether it's big or small. I promised to play Translucent's thing, and I've been looking at it. Let me see here. And it talks about if Kaylee was even Kaylee, which was very well related to, where is that? It's hard to find Translucent here. Hold on. I'll click on her in the chat. Are you still out there, Translucent?
I'm sorry, I was looking in chat.
No, you're good. Right, here we go. Let me see what she had here. Yeah, I've been looking at this video, and I was like, is Kaylee? What? Is Kaylee Jade alive? Is that the one, Translucent? Wait, let me see. Yeah. Let me make sure. Yeah, I think is this 3 weeks ago.
Did you know that Amazon has a $50 million fund that they have to pay out every month? And here's how you can get a
I don't know why Pavarotti keeps mentioning me. I don't watch him, and from what I've seen, he makes stuff up. He's a liar and probably works for the feds.
This video is for people who follow Jay Embry's Idaho videos. If you don't, this isn't relevant for you.
I gotta play that again. Did you see that? Jen, are you still there?
Yeah, but I have it muted because I'm trying to...
What do you see? Hold, I'm gonna play it again. Sorry, hold on.
I don't know why Pavarotti keeps mentioning me. I don't watch him, and from what I've seen, he makes stuff up. He's a liar and probably works for the feds.
This video is for people who follow Jay Embry's Idaho videos. If you don't, this isn't relevant for you. Here on Translucent, we are 90% convinced there's more to it than meets the eye. We're saying Embry might be working undercover to shape public opinion.
But in this video, I'm going to annihilate that motive BS that I seen from Megyn Kelly.
You know what? He did not overcome the severe night terrors and torture, self-torture that's been going through his brain since the time he was 16, where he said he feels like a piece of dead meat, where he said, when I hug my father, I feel nothing. This is a sociopath who is more than capable of these crimes.
The remainder of the 25-minute video goes on and on about Maddie's parents being bouncers, and for some reason he is questioning how they could possibly have that job with their criminal histories. I don't know what world he grew up in, but most bouncers I've known are from troubled backgrounds. For us here on Translucent, it's just a distraction. The core message the feds wanted to get across to you is that Brian was capable of the incident due to his alleged mental health problems.
And I've learned that the defense is looking for evidence to back up the fact that Kohberger knows Emma Bailey and he was buying his drugs from Emma Bailey, which means Kohberger, who she signed his obituary, would have also been doing the same thing.
So, Mr. Embry drops a supposed bombshell about Brian's whereabouts. Apparently, Brian was out shopping for rugs at Emma Bailey's place. But hold up, is this just a clever move to plant an idea? Embry might be trying to convince everyone Brian was near 11:22 on the night. So even if Emma's connection later gets debunked, people will still be thinking Brian was nearby. What Embry doesn't want people to believe is that Brian's iPad will spill the beans during court. That GPS data could be the real MVP, potentially placing him somewhere completely different. Now, some folks are saying we should stick to our own content, and you know what? Fair point. Here's the thing, we don't want this to turn into another Delphi situation. Remember all that misinformation that led to an innocent person getting convicted? Yeah, we're not about that life. So here's the tea. Embry's got millions of views, but we've found evidence suggesting those numbers might not be all organic. We're talking potential sponsored content, and maybe even an FBI connection. Wild, right? Stay tuned, because we've got more bombshells coming your way. Truth is out there, and we're gonna find it. See you soon.
Did you know that living in Oregon for just a hot minute could connect you to an Idaho case? Picture this: Oregon, home to 4 million people, and somehow, according to Jay Embry, if you've ever called it home, even briefly, you're part of the Idaho 4 puzzle.
Oh my, Translucent A+, man. That was fantastic. That's the hardest I've laughed.
This store
in
gets a
years.
delivery
Oh my good lord. Did you catch that beginning, Jen?
Yeah, that was hilarious. I just posted a link. It's Trump and Biden. Like, it's like the lip reading, the bad lip reading. It's hilarious. That whole channel is hilarious. You ever see those videos, like they do like the NFL bad lip reading? They did one with Trump and Biden. It's hilarious.
Hold on, let me get past this. Crap.
Puppet Binky. Joe doesn't know how to do this kind of stuff, does he?
Is this something that you have to do right now?
Doop. Right into your soft navel. Hey, look at me, Bojangles.
President Trump, do you need to hold Papa's hand? Will someone answer the phone? The phone? Get the phone. What? There's no phone that's ringing. No, right there, the ringing.
I don't hear any ringing.
Oh boy. What do I do? Oh no. Are you embarrassed? I'm mortified. Yep.
Chris, I would like to use the C word. Caring.
Butt chunks. Butt chunks. Butt chunks. Caring? Really?
What'd you think I'd say? I don't feel that safe with a lot of people.
Butt chunks. I hope someone has an EpiPen, because I'm frighteningly allergic to corn. Oh, wait a minute then. Now we buy the corn.
Who sent you?
The corn.
Who
Now,
sent you?
wait, guys. Hey, you know what that sound means?
5 favorites. 5 favoritos.
Oh my god, these are epic, dude.
And President Trump, you're up first.
Just go.
Your favorite nickname for yourself?
Cougar Heart.
Your favorite bill?
The gas bill, I'd say.
Your favorite animal sound?
Bzz.
Your favorite scent to smell in a lover?
Ashtray.
Your favorite place to meet ex-circus performers?
Clown Shed.
Oh, great. Vice President Biden, your turn now. Your favorite shape? Stick. Your favorite movie? Showgirls. Your favorite body part? Nostrils. Your favorite meat? Penguin. And your favorite form of arthritis? I think gout. That is correct.
5 favorites. 5 favoritos.
Good job. That wasn't bad.
You know, in the 90s, he called the pagers stupid pagers.
Yeah,
and
I
he
did.
Said it
I
all
said
the time.
that.
He said stupid
they're
pagers.
just not
he
good.
Said that. I would never say that because someone could hear. They were simple.
One whiskey. Chris, you think you'll find a moose in a grove of wheat? Well, that just depends on whether his horns are horns. See, it's all about the horns. Now, some people have horns, for humans, you see, and they usually slip on down into Sinbad's hole, that toxic sewer, and nobody should be in there, you know, except for the horrifying bleach bird. Oh, you don't say. We're gonna make a pig roll in a pumpkin down in Brazil.
The horrifying bleach bird. I can't. Oh my gosh. All right, Jen, I got to shut it down on that right there. Thank you again, everybody, for being here and all you do. You're all wonderful. I appreciate every single one of you. And Jen, amazing. Again, you blow our minds on a daily basis. So
thank you.
Keep up the good work. And thank you for not forgetting me. As you get super famous here. But yeah, we'll do it again. Hopefully Swamp Rose will do hijinks if you want to join us or whatever, however you want to do it on Thursday. We'll be here 10:45 Mountain Time, I guess, or whatever it is. And if you're free, join us. Come on up, whatever you want to do. So,
all right, you got it.
Say goodnight, Jen.
Good night, Jen.
Love you guys. I'll let the stream run.